back in Cleveland, Ohio for the third and final preseason game. Before we get to the action, let's send it down to the third member of our team, Aditi Kinkhabwala, standing by with head coach Kevin Stefanski.
You obviously can't unleash everything today, but you do finally have a starting quarterback in Joe Flacco. What should Browns fans be most excited about with him?
You know, Joe has been through so much as a player, been in the starter, been the backup, been the Super Bowl MVP. We lean on that experience. I know his teammates do. So what he brings to our offense, what he brings to our team is a wealth of experience, and he earned that job. He's played really well, so I'm excited for Joe.
And at this point, you definitely have a good sense of your entire team. What is the personality of this team? What do you know about this team right now?
They work. They really work, and they play hard. You know, the results are the results in the preseason. Listen, if they're keeping score, we want to win, but I look at how we play. I look at how high the effort is on offense, defense, and special teams. That's what matters to me and our football team going into this game as well.
As always, we've appreciated the time this preseason. Have fun.
Thanks, Aditi. See you guys.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Aditi. And there is Joe Flacco. What does he want to get out of this? I mean, he has seen it all, as Kevin just mentioned, at age 40.
As strange as it seems, but he's going to want to be able to just go through the regular process of getting ready for a game. You got to get your mind ready so that when this comes in 2 weeks and the Cincinnati Bengals are in town, you're walking into the stadium with confidence. Nothing is throwing you off your game. Like, oh, I thought I was supposed to park over here. I don't know how to get there. And then I'm stressed. And then it just throws that whole routine off. So for him, he just wants that routine and that process of going through the motions and playing a home game and throwing to his guys. And hopefully against mostly backups here for the LA Rams, he's going to have an opportunity to go right down the field a couple times and score in a very clean operation on offense.
Well, he'll have to wait. So, Joe, just keep that seat right there. LA has won the coin toss, and they have elected to receive. If you're a Browns fan and you know all about the Rams, who've made the playoffs the last couple of years, in fact, 6 times in Sean McVay's 8 seasons, you will not be seeing Matthew Stafford and many of the starters that will open up their regular season against the Houston Texans. It's a lot of backups. It's a lot of guys vying for maybe the final 6 to 8 spots on the team. But that doesn't matter because the Cleveland Browns are playing a lot of their starters today. A lot of the guys you're going to see 2 weeks from tomorrow against the Cincinnati Bengals right here at home. There's a good look at Sean McVay, who a couple years ago became the youngest head coach to ever win the Super Bowl when he led them to a Super Bowl 56 win over the Cincinnati Bengals. Hard to believe he's already in his 9th season coaching, huh?
He doesn't look any different than he did when he broke into the league at what felt like 23 years old, and he's still got that trademark energy. One of the great young minds in our game still, even after 9 seasons.
Dustin Hopkins getting all set to boot it away. Brennan Presley, number 81 for the Rams. Cody Schrader back there, number 32 as well. One last chance for the Browns to have a dress rehearsal before the curtain comes up. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we are underway in Cleveland. Rams will take a knee and start out at the 35-yard line, and they are under the leadership this afternoon of their 4th-string quarterback, Dresser Wynn, first-year man out of Tennessee Martin, who made 32 collegiate starts. The Browns, you're going to see a lot of starters out there, including the number 5 overall pick, Mason Graham.
And he's played great thus far in preseason. Browns have been very happy with his progress, and sticking him next to Myles Garrett, he's got an opportunity to be extremely disruptive for this Browns very, very talented defensive line.
Not going to see Myles Garrett or the 2 starting corners, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, both those guys nursing shoulder injuries. They should be good to go, though, in week 1. Rams are going to keep it on the ground. Jarquez Hunter, their 4th-round pick out of Auburn. Today's defensive position battle brought to you by Big Fig, the mattress made for more, crafted in Cleveland just like our Browns. Linebacker situation got a little tough this past week. Nathaniel Watson, who had a great preseason, lost for the year with a biceps injury. Winston Reed dinged up as well. So this depth will be tested, but you see Carson Schlesinger, first pick of the 2nd round. He's going to be right in the middle of that Browns defense. It's Hunter again up the gut and about a yard shy of the 1st down.
First 2 plays there for the Rams are running what we call duo, which is basically power blocking without pulling anybody. Just getting double teams at the point of attack, letting the running back find a little bit of a hole and pushing the Browns defensive line a little bit, but opportunity here on third down to step up and get off the field.
Getting a good look at Malik Collins, one of the free agent signings, a 10-year vet on that defensive line. 3rd and 1. Whistles and a flag. First one of the afternoon. Here's our referee, Brad Allen.
False start. Offense. Everyone but the snapper. 5-yard penalty.
One of my favorites.
Do you guys all look at each other when that happens? Or do you
Well,
just
I'm
look
glad
at the center?
yeah, you look at the center and you go, well, I'm glad they didn't call my number. Because I've had a few times when Alex Mack didn't snap it when he was supposed to, and so I move, and then they give me the penalty, and then now I'm answering the questions in the media after, why'd you have 2 penalties in the game? And then you're left with this conundrum. Do I throw Alex Mack under the bus, or do I just take it?
Calling him out. Wasn't he like a 7-time Pro Bowler?
He was all right.
3rd and 6.
Oh.
Blitz by the Browns, and Wynn gets destroyed. It was Carson Schlesinger getting right in there on the linebacker blitz. You see what sort of quickness he brings.
Yeah, that was really good by the Browns, but this is what sometimes is going to happen when you got Jim Schwartz, who's not afraid to go into his bag of tricks, even though it's some of the backups here for the Rams. He's going to blitz. It's 3rd down. He's going to call his call, and nobody there, and Carson Schlesinger, who just runs right through the A-gap and smokes the Rams quarterback.
Ethan Evans on to boot it away for the Rams. DeAndre Carter. First time we get a look at him in the preseason. The veteran return man takes it at the 13. Up close to the 25, and now we will get a chance to see the Browns' #1 offense led by 40-year-old Joe Flacco, now in his 18th season. Your Huntington Bank quarterback profile. It's proud to be the official bank of the Cleveland Browns. Flacco wowed this organization by going 4-1 down the stretch, coming off the couch to start and lead this team to the playoffs 2 years ago.
Eligible receiver. 66
Man could still spin it.
40 years old. I'm happy when I get out of my chair every morning, and Flacco's out there still spinning and running around like he's almost 30.
Aiden Huntington, one of the defensive linemen, the fullback in motion, paving the way for the rookie Dylan Sampson. Yeah, we just saw number 66 line up as an extra tight end and bring it.
I love that play. They're running like a wham play. So Aiden Huntington, he lines up in the fullback position, goes in short motion, and comes down and whams the defensive tackle. They run a zone blocking concept up front, just kind of a physical in your face, let them know what the day is going to be all about for the Browns O-line.
Flacco in shotgun with the 4th-round pick Sampson in the backfield. First throw of the day, looks left, throws, connects, incomplete, a little too low actually for the Pro Bowler Jerry Jeudy, who had an outstanding first season with the Browns a year ago.
Yeah, Browns picked up Jerry Jeudy last year. I think there was some wonderment about what you were going to get out of the guy, but he's been incredible. He's been a Pro Bowler, having his best season as an NFL player, and him and Joe Flacco have had a special connection thus far in training camp.
And 90 catches a year ago, that's the most of any Browns player in team history. 3rd and 6. Flacco to throw again. Looks, reads, connects with David Njoku. He's going to be tackled shy of the first down. That's our old buddy Tony Fields wrapping him up. On his return to Cleveland, of course, spent the first 4 years of his career, and he's fired up. Browns go 3 and out. Not as excited.
Yeah, not as excited for the Browns, but if you're a former Brown and you're out there, you're going to be excited about making a play against your former team, even in the preseason, and he let them know about it a little bit there. Remember me?
Corey Bojorquez, who's had an outstanding preseason, on to kick it away to Drake Stoops. Yeah, that's the son of former Oklahoma coach Bob Stoops. This one boomed inside the 10. Stoops is going to let it hop. Takes a friendly Cleveland roll and gets down inside the 5. So Corey Bojorquez, yeah, package him up. He is ready for opening Sunday after another boot of 52 yards. Rams go 3 and out. Browns return the favor. We're scoreless in Cleveland. Browns preseason football on News 5 is presented by Curve. Payment solutions made easy. Visit curvepay.com to learn more. Both teams 3 and out in the early going. All right, dude, I see ya. He's ready. He's ready for the regular season. Rams under the leadership of Dresser Wynn. Jarquez Hunter remains in the backfield. Rams will keep it on the ground for not much. right in the middle of that Browns defense. And one thing we're keeping our eye on, Joe, the back seven, particularly the cornerbacks, because after Ward and Newsome, I think there's a lot of question marks right now.
Yeah, Ward banged up his shoulder, so he's not out there today. Those guys are Pro Bowlers. We know what we got there, but with the loss of MJ Emerson, they've been looking for that nickel slot corner to be able to step up, and they think maybe Nick Needham has moved into that role from safety and could possibly be that answer this year, so we'll be watching him today.
2nd and 8 for the Rams. Play fake, win, being chased, throws, ball's gonna be dropped. It was Miles Harden that would have had an easy pick 6 if he could have stayed in bounds. And Harden is one of those guys that's vying for that slot corner. A missed opportunity for him in this Cleveland defense.
Great job here with some pressure right in the face as the Rams quarterback's trying to boot to his left, which is challenging because you got to flip your hips to be able to get the ball out there. And you've got to make that catch, though, there by Harden. He's one of the guys, like Chris mentioned, that's vying for that nickel slot position. And you got to take that into the zone, baby.
Miles Harden, a 7th-round pick a year ago. Rams on 3rd down. Browns blitzing. They're coming, and they're sacking Wynn just outside of the end zone, it looks like. As he's maybe about 3 inches clear of the goal line, it was Alex Wright continuing his outstanding camp, and his defensive line coach, Jacques Cesaire, loves it.
I love it. They're actually replacing a defensive tackle who's dropping into coverage, so it's a zone blitz. They're bringing their linebacker from the 2nd level. That's Grant Delpit, actually, from the safety spot there, and the Rams just have no answer. It's interesting because the Rams didn't really treat this too seriously, but I think Jim Schwartz is saying, I don't care. We're going to make them pay anyway.
Ethan Evans right up against the end line, kicks it away. Carter, and it's a good boot, takes it at his 46 into Rams territory, keeps his footing and gets it inside the 45 before he is leveled. And the Browns will start their 2nd drive in Rams territory. Joe Flacco 3 and out the first time. We'll get another crack at it in a scoreless game. Season just around the corner. You do not want to miss a single play, so get your seats to your favorite matchups today. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/tickets today. Browns with their 2nd possession after a punt return by DeAndre Carter, and you're looking at one of the newest Cleveland Browns, Isaiah Bond, just signed this week after a Texas grand jury no-billed a sexual assault charge stemming from an April arrest. Andrew Berry, who will join us a little bit later, said they spent much of the last calendar year getting to know him. They are comfortable with him, and he is now officially a part of the team after signing a 3-year deal. Joe Flacco swings it out to Ford. Gets about 3, down close to the 40. Aditi Kinkawala joining us this afternoon from the sidelines. Hi, Aditi.
Hi, Chris. Joe Flacco is the father of 4 boys and a brilliant little girl, and his 2 older sons have very famously been on the record saying they're not impressed with their dad. In fact, one of them went to a game that their dad was starting in Miami wearing a Tyreek Hill jersey. So this week, Flacco tells us that he called his oldest son, Steven. He said that I won the starting job. Steven told his 2nd brother, Daniel, and Daniel said, nuh-uh. Flacco told us he didn't even believe it until he actually saw the news headline. Tough audience.
It is a tough audience. There's a run by Ford, who bounces outside, gets the Browns' initial first down, delivers some punishment, and gets it down close to the 30. By the way, that sideline report from Aditi was presented by Sugardale, the official bacon of the Cleveland Browns.
So this is a duo, just like we were talking, but Jerome Ford does a great job. Initially running right at the line of scrimmage, it draws the linebackers down to that line of scrimmage, and then he bounces to the outside to his left using his speed to run around the defense and make a nice run with a great finish there, lowering his shoulder and the boom on the sideline.
Browns with 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen in the game. The Pro Bowler Joel Bitonio getting the Veterans Day off. 1st and 10, it's Ford. Gets wrapped up after a gain of maybe 1. All right, time right now for the offensive line. The position group to watch presented to you by Big Fig. And yeah, we're watching all these dudes right here. The interesting thing about it is that 4 of the 5 guys, when you're talking about Bitonio, Posick, Teller, and Conklin, they're all in their 30s. They're all in the last years of their deal.
You know, I don't usually like to talk offensive line, but we got 4 really veteran, excellent players here, and that's why the Browns want to lean on their run game this season.
That's Gage Larvidan on the quick hitter. No gain, maybe even a loss of 1.
Not sure exactly what was supposed to happen there. Caden Davis was blocking for that ball to go outside, and Larvidan actually tried to cut it up inside and ended up cutting up right into the Rams defender, and that's why the play didn't work. So those 2 guys not on the same page. That operation is really what we're looking for here, making sure everybody's clean with their technique and just not clean on that one.
3rd and 9 for the Browns. Midway through this opening quarter. Flacco, time, swings it. Sampson, spin move, first down inside the 20. Nice job by the rookie out of Tennessee. And there's bad news. The Browns starting center, Ethan Posick, is down in the backfield. Well, this is something we've seen too much of in recent years. As they look at his lower leg, we will take a break and get an update with the Browns moving. By Toyota. For all Toyota offers, go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And unfortunately, the place where Ethan Posick went was the blue tent. He did walk off under his own power. And we will get you an update momentarily. In the meantime, Luke Whippler, the 3rd-year center out of Ohio State, has taken his place. Browns are in the red zone. It's presented by Milk-Bone. Milk-Bone bringing more dog to the dog pound. Rams bringing a blitz on that, stopping Sampson. Didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage, so it'll be 2nd and long.
Harold Fannin Jr., the Browns' impressive tight end, I believe is in there blocking back, and it looked like he was a little bit confused about who he was supposed to get there when the Rams blitzed off their left edge and just left the guy unblocked. He was able to get in there into the running back and take him to the ground.
Jerome Ford is checked back into the game. Once again, the starters expected to play between 20 and 25 snaps. Flacco, another throw, looks, end zone, Fannin, touchdown! Maybe he didn't know who to block on the previous play, but he knows where to go to catch the passes.
Some guys, you don't waste time teaching them how to block when they can catch like that and get themselves open, making themselves available. Great job on the skinny poster. Flacco looks off the safety and then comes right back to Harold Fannin Jr., who catches the football and then takes the hit all the way into the end zone. Great job by the young player hanging on to it. When you get those quick posts in the red zone, you got to be ready to secure the football quickly and take that hit and go all the way to the ground with the ball. Excellent job by the young tight end.
Dustin Hopkins on for the PAT. He nails it. Browns take over in Rams territory. March 43 yards. The pride of Canton McKinley and Bowling Green, his first NFL touchdown as Fannin gives the Browns a 7-0 lead. Back in Cleveland, Browns scoring drive presented by Howard Hanna. Win big with Howard Hanna, the official real estate provider of the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco 4 for 4 on that drive, including a 15-yard TD toss to the rookie, Harold Fannin. Aditi?
Oh, Chris, Ethan Posick walked into the locker room of his own accord. I'm watching Dylan Gabriel warm up right now. It looks like Joe Flacco's day may be done.
All right. So Kevin Stefanski told us 20 to 25 plays. Looks like it's going to be a little less than that. The 3rd rounder out of Oregon will be up next. Hopkins kick taken by Presley. Trying to get across field. He's got nowhere to go as he gets swallowed up by Christopher Edmonds at the 16-yard line. Today's Browns Trivia is brought to you by Franklin University. Franklin makes it possible for you to earn an affordable degree that fits your life. Hey, who was the youngest Browns player to make a Pro Bowl appearance? Myles Garrett, David Njoku, Joel Bitonio, Denzel Ward. I have the answer coming up in a bit.
You feel pretty confident about that one? You didn't look it up, right?
I did not look it up.
Okay.
How old were you when you first made the Pro Bowl, Rook?
I think it would have been 23. 23 sounds about right.
Okay.
But I think those guys were significantly younger. Myles, I think, was 20. Same with Njoku.
Well, let's not give it away.
No, when they came in the NFL.
I got it.
Just giving some, tips.
Whistle and a flag, and it looks like delay a game.
Prior to the expiration of the play clock, there's a charge timeout.
Oh.
Los Angeles, they're first. It will be 30 seconds.
We talked about operation, right? Which is always the boring thing to talk about in preseason, but it's really what the coaches want to get out of this game. If you're looking at the Browns starters, and what you just saw there is what Kevin Stefanski does not want to see from his starters and from any of his guys, because you're coming out of a timeout and you almost go through the whole play clock, have to waste a timeout. That is a bad ball.
I'm guessing Sean McVay didn't love it either.
Sean McVay is going, come on, guys. I know that I didn't bring all my dudes, but let's get the play in. You guys have had it for 40 seconds.
The pride of Miami University, by the way, born in Dayton, Ohio. His formative years down in Georgia, where he actually won Football Player of the Year over Calvin Johnson down there. That's Hunter with some bruising running up near the 20. Defensively, you just saw Jim Schwartz now in his third year as the DC, and 2 years ago, this was the #1 defense in the NFL, fell to about the middle of the pack a season ago. But based on what we've seen in camp, and especially those 2 joint practices with the Super Bowl champion Eagles, they could be back to the 2023 level.
We're really not sure how explosive this offense is going to be. It's going to be more of the ground and pound and take shots with Flacco. But watching that defense against Carolina, and then specifically against the Philadelphia Eagles offense, I think gave Browns fans a lot of confidence because they were completely dominant from the front all the way to the coverage in the back end.
Well, that's Malik Collins making the stop. 10-year vet, signed in the offseason. He's originally a third-round pick of the Dallas Cowboys. Wherever he has gone, whether it's been with Houston or the Raiders or in Dallas, the guy has always produced. Just a pro.
Yeah, those are the guys that you want, especially on the defensive line on the inside, that are just reliable. They're always going to maintain their gap. They're always going to be a problem for the offense.
3rd and 6 for the Rams, still looking for their initial first down of the game. Keeping it on the ground and getting nowhere close to the sticks because Isaiah McGuire continues his remarkable run this preseason.
Guess who? Isaiah McGuire. He already had 2 pressures on the Rams quarterbacks, but there is a flag.
Well, let's see what this one is. Don't call taunting.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 57, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Okay, well, that's one of those that the league has started to tighten the screws on in recent years. I suppose celebrating is one thing. They're drawing the line pretty early here in the preseason. Make sure the guys know during the regular season that's going to be a no-go.
Preseason is a lot of time for the officials to emphasize and maybe call a little bit more than they normally would on some of the points that they've been talked to by the NFL that they really want to make sure that they tighten things up. So I think that's something that maybe doesn't get called in the regular season.
So first down, and that ball is incomplete as Devin Bush knocked it out of the hands of Stoops.
Devin Bush doing a great job here, recognizing the route coverage, seeing the eyes of the quarterback, breaking on the play and sticking his hand out there to disrupt the opportunity for the receiver to catch the ball, bring it all the way into his chest. Excellent reaction there by Devin Bush with his eyes on the quarterback first and then finding where that ball is going and disrupting the play.
It's going to be a fast linebacking crew with Bush, Schlesinger, and Diabate this year. Rams again on the ground, and again it's Devin Bush wrapping up Hunter, and a loss of a yard.
Jim Schwartz doesn't care that this is a preseason game. He's blitzing. He's treating this game plan just like he would in the regular season. You see Devin Bush there from his linebacker spot to the offense's right, running right through the middle of that defense again. It's that quick recognition by him.
Cleveland, they're first. It will be 30 seconds.
Quick recognition. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate cutting me off there. Quick recognition by Devin Bush, understanding what the play is, seeing the ball, and then blasting right through the A-gaps of the Los Angeles Rams for a big play.
All right, we will pause now for a word from Sarchone Auto Group.
I'm Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns. Proud to be a member of Team Sarchone. because when we come together on and off the field, we can accomplish anything. Community, teamwork, strength. That's what we're all about.
Well, that's the most airtime Myles Garrett has gotten here in the preseason. Right there. Good job.
Hope he's not tired after that long commercial there. We saw him warming up today a little bit.
Yes,
though.
in pads.
They're in pads. So
and actually, he was the last Brown to leave the field during pregame to a thunderous ovation for signing that 4-year extension. 3rd and 11 for the Rams. Win. Plenty of time. Good protection. Leaks out. He's going to run it. End up about 6 yards shy of the first down.
First time the Rams offensive line has been sound in their protection. Browns are running some stunts there. ETs, TEs, trying to get their guys free, just rushing forward for one of the few times here we've seen today. And great job by the Rams, but the secondary for the Browns holds up in coverage and forces the punt. That's really the way you draw it up. When you're only going to send 4 on a 3rd and long, you got to have that good tight coverage in the back end and expect a throwaway or quarterback just scrambling and getting out of bounds.
Looks like Joe Flacco's going to get a 3rd bite at the apple. He's got his helmet back on. First, Carter from the 10. Gets it up to the 20. And here comes Joe Flacco for a 3rd and perhaps final series. 5 for 6 today, the lone misfire, his first attempt of the day to Jerry Jeudy.
Which was really a ball that Jeudy should have caught. Flacco threw it low and away. Not an easy catch. I mean, I couldn't have made it, but that's one that you'd like to see caught. So for Flacco, a very efficient outing thus far.
Jack Conklin, the right tackle, has been removed from the game. So Jackson Barton, number 68, is checked in. Teller and Jones, the 2 opening day starters, remain in. Once again, if we hear anything about Ethan Posick, we will pass it along. Flacco on a play fake, dumps it out to Ford. Nice adjustment on the catch. Gains about a yard or so before being brought down by Cam Lampkin.
Jerome Ford does a great job finishing with the ball in his hand. A couple times down the sideline already, we've seen him lower his shoulder and gain a couple extra yards there. Running after the catch, giving a nice little move near the sideline, but just not going down easy, right? That's that mentality that as a running back you want to build, even in preseason, even in training camp, so it carries over during the regular games.
2nd and 9 for the Browns. That's Pierre Strong for the first time. Dragged down after a minimal gain. Strong was great last week in the win in Philadelphia. Ran 13 times for 89 yards. Has a real burst about him. Averages 5 yards per carry. He's a guy I'd like to see get in on the action a little bit more.
Yeah, with Quinshon Judkins' status with the Browns still a little bit in question, who are going to be the workhorse backs for the Browns this season? Jerome Ford's done a great job. They've had some really nice play from Dylan Sampson and Pierre Strong, and had the right tackle not missed his block on that one. He may have some space there for a man to run.
3rd and 8. Screen set up, plenty of space. It's going to be Strong. Gets the first down, past the 35 and the 40. Browns with a perfect play call against the Rams.
Really nice timing on this screen. You'll see here the Browns do a great job of starting the protection and then getting out in time. You saw a great block there by number 56, Luke Whippler, the center, who's in for the Ethan Posick injury. And great job there with the finish on this run. Again, not going down easy, getting those extra yards, converting that thing to a first down and keeping the chains moving.
Minute and a half to go here in the opening quarter. Flacco is connected on 7 of his first 8 for 55 yards. Flacco to throw again. Connects with Njoku, and a first down into Rams territory, down at the 45. Boy, David Njoku became a different player when Joe Flacco signed on at the end of the 2023 season. These guys have tremendous chemistry.
Those guys have such a special connection. Flacco feels so comfortable with the way Njoku finds the little open space, those windows. Kind of like if you remember Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, it's like they're just playing basketball out there. They're going to an open spot, nothing that's written in the playbook, but they just have that great feel between the two of them.
Called him a beautiful human being.
Classic Njoku comments there.
Flacco again. Fannin, he's got nowhere to go. Well read by the Rams. But look at this. The spin move. He was not finished. That's about as good a 2-yard reception as you'll see at this level.
That was a fun one for being a play that really was sniffed out early by the Rams. It was supposed to be a tight end screen. They were kind of all over that. But you know what I really like is that Browns have had a physical training camp this year. You're seeing the results on the field here with that physicality.
Well, the Browns starters have played the balance of the first quarter, and it has shown, little Sparky. That's right. Harold Fannin Jr. connecting with Joe and a 7-0 lead.
Timeout.
Brought to you by Park Place Technologies. Park Place Technologies supporting 100,000 data centers in 180 countries and your Cleveland Browns. And aren't they glad that they did? Browns with another dominant quarter. In fact, the Rams' lone first down came courtesy of a taunting penalty. Joe Flacco spinning it. 9 straight completions. 6 different receivers have caught passes. He's got to go in here. As do the Browns. Opening play of the second quarter. Flacco, pressured, dropped. Elias Neal with the sack. In the meantime, the Browns' last drive resulted in the touchdown for the first string offense. Jerome Ford laying the wood. And then Dylan Sampson with the spin move to eventually set up the rookie tight end.
Harold Fannin Jr. running the post, doing a great job securing the football, taking the hit, and getting that touchdown in the NFL for a guy that's playing college ball down the street. That's got to be a big moment, even in the preseason.
3rd and 18. Browns will keep it on the ground. Strong gets back a few, and so let's see if it'll be punt time. It will be, as Corey Bojorquez trots onto the field for the second time today. So the Browns were moving yet again, but the sack did them in. It's an area they're definitely going to have to clean up. Yeah, only Caleb Williams was sacked more times a season ago than the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks.
And a lot of those were just getting on the same page with your protection schemes between your tight ends, your running backs, your offensive line, and then a quarterback knowing where he's protected. That one that we had a sack of Monty Marshall, didn't use great technique and block inside out on that linebacker who was able to slip him to the inside. And
False start. Offense, number 22. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
So false start, motion 5 yards back for the Browns.
Give our punter a little bit more space there. We saw Corey Bojorquez on his last punt standing on his 20-yard line. Boot the ball, landed on the 1-yard line, bounces back. So he's got plenty of leg and probably actually is not upset about backing up a little bit.
Well, you could keep it going for him. Last year, he booted an 84-yarder against the Raiders. That was the longest in Browns history. Stoops to return it, calls for the fair catch at his own 11. All right, time right now for your trivia answer. It is brought to you by Franklin University. Franklin makes it possible for you to earn an affordable degree that fits your life. The question was, who's the youngest Browns player to make a Pro Bowl appearance? You want to guess?
I would guess Myles Garrett. I think that's a safe bet. Sorry, Denzel Ward, close.
Yeah. 21 years old, the first of 4 Pro Bowl appearances, and coming off his best season, by the way, a year ago. It was tough for the team. He was outstanding.
Yeah, Greg Newsome called him the best cornerback in the league this offseason, and he's really played like that thus far in the preseason training camp.
Cody Schrader in the backfield for the Rams. As Dresser Wynn remains in the game. Looks deep, looks left. Overthrows Terrence Ferguson, the 2nd-round pick out of Oregon, who caught an awful lot of passes from the Browns' 3rd-round selection, Dylan Gabriel.
Rayshawn Jenkins there doing a nice job. He's got man coverage. They're trying to run, we used to call it like a stomp route. Basically, it's just an inside fade there, where when you have inside leverage by the defender, you got some space on the sideline as long as you don't get any hook curl player that's sliding out there. But good job, Rayshawn Jenkins, squeezing the receiver to the sideline, giving the quarterback nowhere to throw the football.
For a guy that played offensive line, you know a lot about catching the ball.
I can look at spaces. I can't catch it, but I can tell you what you should have done.
Not true. Not true. End around. That's Presley getting up toward the 20. Good spin move. Dom Jones finally wraps him up, but not before a Rams first down up to the 28-yard line.
Dom Jones in there on the tackle. He's going to be one of the guys that they're taking a good look at here and trying to figure out what type of a role can he have in the secondary this year with, like I mentioned earlier, the injury to MJ Emerson, trying to figure out what that depth is going to look like behind Newsome and Ward.
Yeah, it's possible the Browns are going to be doing a little cornerback shopping on Cut Down Tuesday. 4 o'clock Cleveland time. Schrader right up the middle. As a lot of the Browns' second team defense is in there now. Gain of almost 8.
We talked about Jim Schwartz's defense being really impressive all preseason, pretty much unblockable from that defensive line. And one of their marquees is the way that they run to the football, the way they hit, the way they play physical, you know, kind of reflection of the defensive coordinator's attitude and the type of person he is there. So a little soft on that direct run from the Rams. You'd like to see them tighten it up here, maybe send a pressure right here from their linebacker core.
Presley in motion. He's going to get it, and he spins out of a tackle. Does a nice job to get the ball back. Maybe a yard gain. Devin Bush had him wrapped up for just a second. Actually, it was Troyan Shoyinka who had him initially. And then Bush to clean it up.
Nice athletic play there by Troyan Shoyinka, seeing the jet sweep and being able to just run upfield and get his hand on that receiver. It's a tough angle for him. You've got a guy who's already faster than you running towards the sideline, and you got to be able to make that play. Otherwise, that guy runs a long way down your sideline.
3rd and 2, Rams on the ground. Schrader tripped up behind the line of scrimmage, and he'll lose 1. And they'll bring the punt unit back on, so the Browns defense tightens.
Browns sent secondary pressure there. Great job by number 28. Rayshawn Jenkins getting in there, getting physical, clouding up those gaps to the inside where the Rams are trying to run, giving them an opportunity to get off the field here, forcing the Rams to punt.
12-year veteran Shelby Harris in on the action there, now in his 3rd year with the Browns. What a great career he's had as originally a 7th-round pick. Evans for the 4th time, and Carter's going to watch it sail out of bounds. Well, Joe Flacco's day appears to be done. Up next, the 3rd-round pick, Dillon Gabriel, makes his home debut for the Browns with a 7-0 lead. Bank is proud to be the official bank of the Cleveland Browns. Speaking of which, our quarterback profile is also brought to you by Huntington Bank, as they've made a change. It's the 3rd-round pick, Dillon Gabriel, who went 13 from 18 in a starter's role last week in the win over the Eagles. However, a couple of turnovers. He's going to look to improve on that.
Looked great, except for those 2 turnovers, which is hard to say, but when you're a rookie in your first start, you got to take the win of operation, decision-making, and just try to clean up those 2 mistakes here in this second opportunity.
Pierre Strong spins forward for about 3. So with Gabriel, and then we'll see Shedeur Sanders, the big question is, does this organization feel comfortable with them being 1 snap away?
Yeah, the plan all along was going to have Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett competing for that number 1 spot. Flacco wins it almost a little bit by default because Kenny Pickett has a long hamstring injury, and the speculation now is, hey, these young guys have looked good enough in their first 2 opportunities that, hey, maybe they can be 1 snap away and make them really the backup quarterback when the season starts.
Gabriel to throw across the middle, connects. That's Jamari Thrash for a 1st down past the 35. Those 2 had a great connection last week in Philly.
Dillon Gabriel showing a veteran-like ability to look off the defense. Look at that. He's looking to his left first, and then he comes back all the way across the middle to Jamari Thrash in the 2nd window on the dig route over the middle. Great job manipulating the defense with your eyes, something that a lot of times you just see with veteran quarterbacks.
Gain of 15, gets the ball up to the 38. Strong remains in the game. He'll get the ball, big hole, and he takes a big hit. Tanner Ingle delivering the shot, but a gain of 8.
A really nice job by the left side of the Browns offensive line. They recognized that the Rams were bringing pressure from over there. They were able to slide out, pass off the little slant game that the Rams are trying to make, and actually stunt what the Rams are trying to do, open up that huge lane for Pierre Strong to just run straight. And if your running back can grab the ball and just run straight up the field for 8 yards, that's what we call a good run for the offensive line.
Amani Marshall, who's been really impressive as an undrafted rookie free agent out of Appalachian State, checks into the backfield. Gabriel, pressured, spins, rolls left, and just wisely throws it away.
That's the type of play that the fans are not super pumped about, but the Browns coaching staff is really happy because it's decision-making as you're a rookie quarterback. It's deciding when to try to make that play and take that chance, and then sometimes just go live to play another down. Throw the ball out of bounds, try to get out of the pocket, but understand you don't have to win the game on every single throw.
Particularly when you gain 8 yards on first down.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's 3rd and 2. You're still in a very manageable situation to be able to pick this up. So good job knowing the situation as well. Good job by my man over here, Chris Rose, identifying that as well.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not the age of a rookie.
Play
Marshall
back.
is going to get the first down and get it close to midfield as the drive continues. So big picture here, what do you think the Browns are thinking with their 2 rookies at this point? Obviously, a lot of it depends on the health of Kenny Pickett. He's a guy they loved. It's why they traded for him in the spring. They thought he'd have a legit shot to battle whomever they would bring into that quarterback room. It ended up being Joe Flacco yet again, and it's going to be an interesting mindset for the next 72 hours.
A lot of speculation with Kenny Pickett missing most of training camp. Are they going to be able to keep him around, keep 4 quarterbacks, which is unorthodox because then you got to make harder decisions at some of the other positions and cut somebody maybe that you'd want to keep. But I think they realize that Kenny Pickett, even though he's not your starter, he still has good value, right? There's a lot of teams that value him at some point in their roster. Maybe if there's some injuries across the league at the quarterback position that somebody might come calling. So possibly keeping him around to maybe have him be the backup if you don't feel great about Dillon or Shedeur, or as an opportunity to maybe get something from him in a trade with another team.
Browns have been steadfast in their analysis of their rookies that these are both developmental guys. And they have treated it as such. Strong again, burst for another first down. I like his explosiveness, by the way.
Yeah, he's seeing the blocking schemes in front of him really, really well. Tevin Jenkins, the right guard, does a great job getting hip to hip with his center on the double team, creating a little bit of vertical displacement, putting that defensive tackle into the lap of the linebacker, and then allowing Pierre Strong to pick his play, pick his hole. In the middle, he's going A-gap, and then all of a sudden, boom, he jumps out as soon as that linebacker comes downhill, picks up that first down.
I don't know if you salivate more talking about offensive line play or your Wagyu beef.
Yeah, it might be the Hall of Fame beef, but it's definitely a tie. At this point, though, I'm not hungry. I'm just hungry for some more O-line play, baby. Let's go.
Gabriel rolls, hits Marshall wide open inside the 30, inside the 25, and another easy Browns first down.
Dillon Gabriel booting to his left, to his strong throwing arm, doing a great job, just making the routine plays look easy. And that's so important for a young quarterback because you're going to get very few layups in the NFL, and you've got to be able to deliver when you have those opportunities to give your guy not only just a catch, but a catchable ball where he can run and make some yards after catch, just like he did there.
Browns offense moving well. Backups in for both sides. The Rams obviously started their backups. Gabriel turns, throws, overshoots Caden Davis. Time right now for another sideline report presented by Sugardale, the official bacon of the Cleveland Browns. Aditi has more on the quarterback situation.
Chris, one more point to add to what you and Joe are saying about Kenny Pickett. Kevin Stefanski has repeatedly said you cannot say enough good things about him, and he has repeatedly called him a good teammate. I can tell you through 3 games of standing here on the sideline, whenever, whatever quarterback comes over to the sideline, it's Kenny Pickett who immediately sits down next to him, who has the tablet with him. We saw it all last week with Dillon Gabriel. When Tommy Rees was up in the box, it was Kenny Pickett trying to coach him up.
Thank you, Aditi. Gabriel trying to squeeze it into Thrash in the window. Gets knocked away. And it'll be 3rd and long for the Browns. Yeah, Kenny Pickett is about as disappointed as anybody that in late July he pulled up lame and just was never a true part of this competition from that point forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think when the Browns signed him this offseason, there was every intent to make him the starter. And then you bring in Flacco, and then you say, okay, well, let's have them compete, but we feel really good about whoever wins that job. But like you mentioned, bad hamstring injury earlier in camp, and never really had that opportunity.
3rd and 10 for the Browns. Gabriel across the middle, connects, Whitehart gets flipped head over heels, but it's another first down. Good toughness by one of the guys that's vying for that third tight end role, if there is one on this team, and he's going to walk off with a little bit of a limp. And with that, the Browns are in the red zone, presented by Milk-Bone. Milk-Bone bringing more dog to the dog pound.
Great job by Gabriel bouncing back there. 2 misfires at the beginning of that first down series, and comes back on third down when you have to be big. You want to be a big-time quarterback in the NFL. You got to make those plays on third down, finding the window, delivering a catchable ball.
Marshall picks his way forward to about the 10, not much there. So how would you assess the play of the 2 rookie quarterbacks so far?
They've both been very impressive, I would say, and it has not looked like the moment was too big for them, which so many times, I mean, having a billion rookie quarterbacks, you see them in practice, they're doing good stuff, you feel like they're making progress. All of a sudden they go out there in the game and they lock up, because it is a big deal when you're playing in the NFL. I don't care what program you came from. This is a different level of pressure. This is a different level of reading the defense and decision making. And both those guys have shown very cool, calm poise when they're back there at quarterback.
Gabriel looking in and out of the hands of Gage Larvadan, who's had an outstanding camp, but I had it at about the 5. Instead, it'll be 3rd and 8.
Browns running just short passing concepts here, a bunch of stick routes, which like quick out here by Larvadan. He uses the speed cut, so instead of making a hard 90-degree angle, he's just kind of bending that with speed, giving the quarterback great opportunity to throw him the ball. And I like Dylan Gabriel just being decisive on that concept, just getting the ball out of his hands quick, get it to your playmaker. Unfortunately, that was Gage Larvadan, lets the ball slip right through his fingers.
3rd and 8, Gabriel retreats, rolls left, he's got some space, he throws, incomplete. He was looking for Thrash in the corner of the end zone and couldn't quite get it done. So the Browns will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Browns get a little bit of pressure there from the right tackle getting pushed into the quarterback, but Dylan Gabriel does a great job recognizing it, escaping the pocket, but I don't love the decision to throw the ball. That was not really much of a window to be able to throw it towards the sideline. I would have loved to see Dylan Gabriel use those wheels and try to get himself into the end zone.
Well, let's remember he was nursing a hamstring earlier this camp. Just got cleared last week to return to team, and then the game. The field goal is good by Dustin Hopkins, and the Browns have yet another scoring drive. This one courtesy of their 3rd-round rookie, Dylan Gabriel. It's 10-0. Mornings with News 5's Good Morning Cleveland. Tiffany Tarpley, Mike Brookbank, and meteorologist Trent McGill have more of everything you need. More local news, consumer news, traffic, and Power of 5 weather. So you're all set for the day ahead. Browns get a short field goal from Dustin Hopkins to take a 10-0 lead. That scoring drive is presented by Howard Hanna. Win big with Howard Hanna, the official real estate provider of the Cleveland Browns. Mixed bag for Dylan Gabriel in his first drive, just 3 of 8 for 43 yards. Hopkins to boot it away. Schrader will take it. There's a flag down. It's going to get past the 30, the 35, and wrapped up there. DeMonte KZ, Christopher Edmonds in on the stop. Not a ton of flags here in the first half.
Illegal formation. Receiving team number 45. That 5-yard penalty is assessed from the end of the play. It's first down.
All right, time right now to check in with Aditi Kinkhabwala, with a man who's started the game and is done for the day.
We are indeed here with Joe Flacco, who's done for the day, but for the first time in 7 months, live action. How did it feel?
Yeah, I can say, like, it's good that we did that, because you get through some of the little stuff that you just, you have to get through when you go back out on the field for the first time with live action. So I'm glad that we were able to get out there and get some plays under our belt today.
9 for 10 incompletions. The one incompletion went to the guy who's supposed to be your #1 receiver, to 6 different pass catchers. What's the confidence to be gleaned from that?
Well, yeah, I don't think it was anything perfect, but, to just get little completions, get the ball in guys' hands, and then just see what they can do with it. I mean, you saw a little bit of that on the 3rd down that I hit our back out of the backfield with. And he made a couple guys miss. And that's what this game's all about, getting it in your playmakers' hands and letting them go win the game for you.
We see the way that you're walking around talking to the offensive linemen. Now that it's officially your team, what's the difference?
You know, it's going to be tough for me to admit there's much of a difference. You know, I think I kind of am who I am, and I'm able to be that, you know, even without that title. But I think as far as the team's concerned, it's always good to have a guy that you can look at and know that he's going to be the guy that's under center for you. And I think it's just a good way to give everybody confidence going into the season. Like I said, I'm going to be that same person no matter what. But yeah, it feels good to be able to look at the guys in the eye now, knowing that I'm going to be out there with them on Sunday.
The conversation surrounding this team, of course, is the makeup of the quarterback room and how deep it will actually go. This many years in, how much do you think about what sort of support you'd like in that room?
You know, it's funny. I think I probably take for granted what's in that, what that room is all about, because I've been part of a QB room for so long. But it's a special place. You know, it's one of the toughest positions to play in sports. So to have a room that you can kind of all go in and feel good about, and you know, kind of bounce things off of each other, and also just have good laughs and have good relationships with, is important. And I probably do take that for granted a little bit. Listen, we got a good room, you know. We got a lot of guys that like to have fun, and a lot of guys that are learning football. You know, they're young and they're anxious to learn, and it makes for a good environment, and it keeps me, you know, on my toes, and you know, I'm loving every bit of it.
Keeps you young too.
Of course, you know, hanging around these guys at least gives me the illusion that I'm still a young guy. So.
Last one. Do you think that your children enjoyed this performance?
I'll be interested to see how much of it they watched, or if they're swimming or doing something like that. They enjoyed it. I don't know if they're going to tell me that, but they enjoyed it. They're enjoying every bit of this. And not honestly, like them enjoying it the way they are is one of the big reasons why I'm still able to do this and have so much fun with it. They make it that much more special. So.
Well, hopefully Daniel believes you are indeed the starter.
That's right.
We appreciate it. Thanks so much. Best of luck this year.
Appreciate it.
Joe, you're allowed to run home and tell your kids you are indeed the starter. Whether they believe you or don't want to believe you, you are the week 1 starter.
Sounds like they're going to have to find him at the swimming pool, though.
Yeah, I know, right?
They're not going to be glued to the TV, apparently.
A couple of big pass plays to their second-round pick, Terrence Ferguson, have gotten the Rams in the red zone for the first time today. In fact, they hadn't run a play in Cleveland territory until this drive. Dresser win. Looking, plenty of time. He's got space along the left side. Rolls, throws, completes. That is a nice catch there by Drake Stoops. Gets it down close to the goal line, inside the 2.
Browns in man coverage in the back end, forcing Rams quarterback to have to scramble around because he's got a good protection but nobody to go to, and then with a great toe tap down the sideline, Stoops is able to catch that ball with Tony Brown. Just too much time in coverage for those guys to have to hang on. Got to get some pressure from your defensive line.
Good job by DeMonte KZ to submarine Schrader before he can get in for the score. Rams are on the move, down 10-0 at the 2-minute warning. Work and play in Northeast Ohio. And there, of course, the ownership, Jimmy Haslam. I'm sure D is around here as well. Executive Vice President of the Cleveland Browns, J.W. Johnson, checking out the Browns. Defense trying to stiffen here on 2nd and goal. Schrader in the backfield, play fake to him, win, throws, touchdown, Stoops. And somewhere, Papa Bob, the former Oklahoma Sooners coach, is celebrating his son's touchdown.
Rams do a good job. They're faking the jet sweep in one direction. All the blocking goes in the same direction, and then you boot out. And a lot of times on the backside, you get Stoops, you get those backside receivers acting like they're blocking down, and then the secondary for the Browns just lose track of who they have to be covering because they're thinking about their run fits. They're seeing that eye disguise going in the other direction with the jet sweep motion, and then completely leaving Stoops open in the end zone.
Joshua Carty on to connect the PAT, and the Rams have their first points. They're down 10-7. Dylan Gabriel. Good news is you get to run a 2-minute drive in your first home game with a 3-point lead.
Live action 2-minute drill. See how he can operate, see how he handles the pressure.
Ball's going to be taken. It's a wobbly one. Carter's going to pick it up at the 5. Doesn't even make it to the 15 before he gets wrapped up. I'd like to take a moment to welcome our broadcast affiliates today, presented by Ken Ganley Kia. I want to see you in a Ken Ganley Kia. All our great Ohio affiliates, also our friends watching on NFL Network nationally, and our newest affiliate all the way in Honolulu, Hawaii, to check out one of their favorites, Dillon Gabriel. Yeah, the people at KGMB, they got up at 7 a.m. for kickoff today.
Aloha. Hopefully enjoying some banana macadamia nut pancakes as they're enjoying their boy, Dillon Gabriel, out here in the 2-minute drill.
Browns with a couple of timeouts. Trevion Williams into the game in the backfield. Gabriel to throw, looks, throws, completes. First down, that is Gage Larvidan with the clock running. Aditi?
Chris, 2 not ideal updates. Tight end Blake Whiteheart is out with a knee, and Pierre Strong is being evaluated for a concussion right now.
All right, thank you so much. Browns have had to deal with their share of injuries all preseason long. Another connection, that to Deontay Johnson for the first time, the veteran, trying to make it at the back end of the roster. Today's player to watch, though, presented by Tostitos. Tostitos team bags are back. Scan the QR code to win an epic Browns game day experience. It's the undrafted rookie free agent out of South Carolina, Gage Larvidan, who's been great this camp.
Yeah, Gage has had a great camp, trying to find a spot on the roster for him, but with potentially keeping 4 quarterbacks, it'd be tough to keep 6 receivers, but he's one of those guys, he's done such a great job, you almost have to find a spot for him.
Gabriel throws, ooh, another dangerous pass. Incomplete. He was looking for Larvidan.
Dillon Gabriel going back to that sideline with the quick out being run by Gage Larvidan. You got to be careful going back to the well 2 times in a row, because those cornerbacks, they're on defense, so they're not as smart as us offensive guys, but even those guys, every now and then, they can figure things out and have an opportunity to maybe jump the play and make a game-changing play for the Rams in 2 minutes.
Whistles. And a timeout by the Rams.
Chargers timeout. Los Angeles. Their second. It will be 30 seconds.
So we expect to see Dillon Gabriel play into the second half, and then Shedeur Sanders will make his home debut, and that is going to be very interesting, because Shedeur Sanders, boy, he has had a ton of fans, a groundswell of support ever since really his days at Jackson State. It followed him to Colorado and then through the draft process, which was a wild roller coaster of emotions. I gotta say, this kid has handled himself extremely well since he has come to Cleveland.
He has handled himself really well. What a tough situation, thinking that you're going to be one of the top picks in the draft and then sliding all the way to the 5th round. I think even people that didn't love him coming out didn't expect that to happen, but he's handled it with grace. He's done a great job handling the competition with Dillon Gabriel, doing and saying all the right things, and then playing great in his first opportunity a couple weeks ago.
Gabriel across the middle, connects, gets the ball into Rams territory as Larvidan with a nice connection. Gets it down to the Rams 47, clock running. Cleveland still with 2 timeouts. Gabriel throws, thrash, first down again.
Dillon Gabriel doing a great job with quick decisions, throwing the ball accurately, but he's got to be careful. He's throwing a lot of out-breaking routes right now, and you got to watch for a trap corner where it looks like the guy you're looking at might be playing man coverage where you can fit it in, but then they fall off with the outside corner and make a jump on those routes.
Gabriel 1st and 10, dumps it down. Trevion Williams gets it to the 30, and the Browns utilize their 2nd timeout.
Dillon Gabriel listening to our broadcast, understanding he can't keep picking apart with the quick outs and throwing it to his running back there, which puts him in field goal range and gives him
Chargers
an opportunity.
timeout. Cleveland, their second.
Well, everybody's smarter when they listen to you.
I don't know about that, but certainly in that moment, he was using his big brain.
So when they go over that in film, is that something where they say, hey, you can get away with that
Please
on 1 o'clock on a Saturday
against
a bunch of guys at the back end of the roster, but that will not work on Sunday?
Thank you.
Whether it's practice field in Berea or Philadelphia or out here on game day, like every rep you take is a learning experience, even if it's a great rep, because in that situation, they're like, hey, great throw, we love the decision making, but Now, here's the next level, the graduate level of thinking you need to be ready for. It's like, hey, they're going to adjust on defense. They're not just going to sit in the same coverage. They're going to look and see what your tendencies are throughout that drive. And then all of a sudden, the guys up in the box are going to say, hey, let's run this coverage, because that can take advantage of what the quarterback is doing and what he's looking for with his first read. And so just being nimble at that quarterback position is something you're learning as a rookie.
Gabriel, a ton of experience in FBS records, 63 starts across 3 different schools. Gabriel throws wide open. Sal Cannella for the first time inside the 25. Cannella, a first-year man out of Auburn. He's done some nice things in the preseason games.
Yeah, Cannella's done a really nice job there. We got Gage Larvidan as the wide receiver out wide there, of course. That's what they call him, the wide receiver. And just throwing a nice little pick for Sal Cannella, being able to run towards the sideline. Well, when I said it, I realized how silly it sounds, but that's why they call it the wide receiver. But it's a Twins, a 2-by-2 formation, and Dylan Gabriel picking a side, going to it quickly, being really decisive in the 2-minute drill.
1st and 10, Gabriel over Larvidan. And that is one of those balls that is dangerous for the receiver. Tanner Engel got a shot on the undrafted rookie. We've seen a few of those sail on Gabriel.
Yeah, that was one that he's going to want back. He starts to his right, comes back, and I couldn't tell if the ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage a little bit. That's why it floated kind of high, because that's a dangerous throw. I think from an offensive standpoint, I like kind of taking a little bit deeper of a shot towards that middle hash mark part of the field, but when it gets tipped, it leaves your receiver in a vulnerable position.
2nd and 10. Browns still with one more timeout to go. They're going to set up a screen. He's got blockers in front of him and gets down to the 20, and the Browns will have to use their last timeout as Trevion Williams was stopped. Actually, nice job. It looked like the waters were going to part for him, and then quickly swallowed up by the Rams defense.
Yeah, Zach Zinter's out there leading the parade, and it looked like he didn't really know if he should block the corner and block out or turn back inside and block the safety. But what they tell the first man out in a screen like that is pick somebody and be decisive and go block them. Because if you're kind of pitter-pattering between 2 guys and you're not decisive, the running back doesn't know who the guy is that he owns in that situation. So he's waiting to play off of your block. You don't make a decisive decision and take somebody, and then all of a sudden the guy you weren't really paying attention to because you were thinking you're going to get outside takes out your legs.
You should teach a screen class in Madison. Screen blocking 101.
Screen you.
The Browns are in the red zone, presented by Milk-Bone. Milk-Bone bringing more dog to the dog pound. And the Rams will burn their final timeout.
Los Angeles, their 3rd and final.
They got scared, I could tell.
All right, I know it's only preseason, but I'll let you throw on your offensive coordinator cap here in terms of what you're trying to do. Why not? Let's have a little fun with it.
Well, what I'm trying to do here is thinking that I want to see Dylan Gabriel play out this drive. And so you got an opportunity where the Rams are thinking, we got to protect the sticks. It's 3rd down. If we can stop them here, we're going to force a field goal. Where if I'm the Browns, I'm going, hey, we got the whole field available. We can throw it for 2 or 3 yards, try to gain a yard or 2 yards after catch, and then be ready for that quick situation where before you let the Rams substitute or get into a different defense, you get on the line of scrimmage and you run a quick quarterback sneak, or you run another play before they have a chance to get ready.
All right, 3rd and 7. No timeouts for either side. Gabriel 7 of 9 for 67 yards on this drive. Gabriel looks left, throws, connects for the first down inside the 5. Beautiful ball placement and a great job by Thrash to hang on even after Cam Lampkin lit him up.
Great job here by Dylan Gabriel, just layering that throw over that first level of the defense, but getting it down before the receiver gets hit right at the goal line there. Thrash doing a great job bringing it in, getting those feet in bounds, and giving the Browns an opportunity here inside the 5-yard line.
Browns have 1st and goal at the 3. Williams remains in the backfield. Gage Larvidan back in the game. Gabriel looks, throws, wide open Larvidan, touchdown!
Gage Larvidan all by himself in the end zone. Dylan Gabriel going through his progression, finds his man wide open and makes the easy look easy in routine. Great job by Dillon Gabriel. Couple misfires during that drive, but he stuck with it. He continued to read the defense and trust in his arm and trust in what his eyes are showing him, and finds Gage Larvadain in the corner of the end zone for a big touchdown there for the Browns and for Dillon Gabriel to finish that drive the right way.
Dustin Hopkins, and he pulls the PAT. And so the Browns will have to settle for 6 instead of 7 on that drive and a 9-point lead. All right, that is our Howard Hanna scoring drive. Win big with Howard Hanna, the official real estate provider of the Cleveland Browns. An impressive 11-play, 86-yard drive in 1:38. Gabriel 9 of 11 for all 86 yards, and it wraps up with a 3-yard touchdown toss to a wide-open Larvadain.
Yeah, great decision making, great patience back there. That's one of the things that rookies do have to learn is you've got plenty of time, right? The clock stops when the ball goes out of bounds. You got plenty of timeouts. You don't have to be in a rush. You don't have to be panicked. You can take what the defense gives you because you've got plenty of time to get down the field and give yourself an opportunity to score a touchdown just like they did right there. And so taking a lot of nice, easy throws to guys that were open, distributing the football to multiple players, finding little windows as the coverage is getting changed from one play to the next. Really nice drive there by Dillon Gabriel.
Ball sails into the end zone, and you got to imagine the Rams will probably take a knee with no more timeouts. So Gage Larvadain, you know, he was just excited to be on the same field with Joe Flacco in practice. Earlier this year, he tweeted out he caught a TD from Mr. Joe Flacco, so life is complete. Not quite. You get to score a touchdown like that in the preseason, whether it's from Joe Flacco or a fellow rookie and Gabriel, it doesn't matter, man.
You love seeing those rookies showing the vets respect and showing excitement, right? Because, I mean, everybody that's watching at home, these guys are living our dream. I mean, even though I did get to play, I still get jealous of what these guys get to do out here, play in front of a huge crowd. Maybe not huge today, but on a normal situation. But it's just such an honor to be able to go wear the orange and brown and the NFL shield and go out and play a kid's game for a king's ransom. That's what we always said, and it's fun to see that joy from these guys.
So Joe Flacco and the first stringers, they got on the board early on. Dillon Gabriel and the backups, a couple of scoring drives of their own, and so Cleveland will have a 16-7 halftime lead. Pretty impressive work out of the offenses that just drove up and down the field after that first drive. First team defense, outstanding work, albeit against the Rams backups, but Jim Schwartz's defensive side of the football has been absolutely outstanding. Aditi Kinkhabwala standing by with Browns quarterbacks coach Bill Musgrave.
I am indeed with Coach Musgrave. And Coach Musgrave, Joe Flacco, what do fans not necessarily know? What flew under the radar in what you just saw?
Well, he's a cool operator, that's for sure. Awfully accurate. Took a sack, which we don't like to do that, especially on 2nd and 9, 4-down territory. So there's some corrections to make, even with 40-year-old guys.
Okay, and what about the young guy, Dillon Gabriel? What's the biggest step you've seen in him from last week out to today?
The young guy avoided the disasters today, especially on that last drive. Throwing it away when it's not there, not taking a sack, definitely not throwing it to the other team.
Very important. Thank you. We appreciate the time.
All right, Aditi, thank you. We expect to see more of Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders at the helm in the second half. Browns lead at 16-7. Coming up next, John Doss with the halftime report. First half stats presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns seem to say this a lot this preseason. Dominated the first half. Look at that, almost 250 yards of total offense. 17 first downs. Rams had one really good drive, to their credit, with their kind of third and fourth stringers, but that's right. That's the Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. I am Chris Rose. You want to look at a special play I've got for you?
Yeah, let's do it. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's the first half highlight. That would be singular, if you don't mind. Presented by Pet Supplies Plus. Pet Supplies Plus, your home turf for happy pets. All your pets were barking at the TV when Gage Larvadain was this wide open.
Dillon Gabriel did a great job that entire 2-minute drive, looking off the coverage in that situation. He looks off the safety, gives Gage Larvadain an easy opportunity to make an easy routine catch in the end zone because the man covering him was following Dillon's eyes.
So we expect him to start the second half and then turn it over to Shedeur Sanders. Joe Flacco completed his last 9 passes, had a touchdown toss to the rookie third-rounder, Harold Fannin, who I think is going to be an awesome weapon. It was the first time we saw him do something here. And
it was fun to watch him, right? Just his ability to separate, right? He's just such a great athlete. He's got those great hands. He caught the ball on a little skinny post into the end zone, knowing that he was going to receive some contact, pulls it in, holds on to it all the way to the ground, just hopefully giving Browns fans a little preview of what we got in store for us this season with a couple dynamic pass catchers at tight end.
Well, Shedeur Sanders does have his helmet on. Dillon Gabriel does not. I'm no detective. But I think that means that perhaps Shedeur is about to enter the game.
I thought you were going to say, but I play one on TV?
No, I definitely don't. Play a lot of roles.
That's not one of them.
That's not one of them.
Uh-oh.
That's a bad kick that's shy of the 20-yard line, and so it's going to be a problem for the Rams.
Landing zone infraction, kicking team. The ball be placed at the 40-yard line, first down.
And here comes Shedeur Sanders for the first time in Cleveland. Loved by many. It has been a national story throughout training camp. Did not play last week in the win over the Eagles because of an oblique injury, but lit up the Carolina skyline his NFL debut. And Sanders the throw, flushed out of the pocket, looking, dumps it down and connects with Sal Cannella for a gain of about 5.5. So Shedeur Sanders, your quarterback profile, presented to you by Huntington Bank. In that season opening win over the Panthers, 14-23, almost 140 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Most importantly, did not turn it over that day.
And to me, that was really the big difference between the two rookie quarterbacks, Dillon Gabriel with the 2 turnovers credited to him in his start. Shedeur Sanders was clean with 0 in his start.
Amani Marshall in the backfield and gets it on second down and gets nowhere. Maybe loses a half yard. So Shedeur, as we mentioned in the first half, has done and said all the right things. There's been a lot of people, a lot of national shows that have an opinion on where he should be on the depth chart, how many reps he should be getting with certain players, and he has just kind of played football.
He's done a great job blocking out the noise. You know, he's been a superstar since probably high school, and national fans all over the place. It can become a distraction if you allow it, but he's just done a great job showing maturity, keeping it about, hey, I'm just trying to get better. I'm just trying to help the team. And he's really been everything the Browns have wanted when they drafted him.
3rd and 5, Sanders is going to run, and he will not get to the first down. Picks up maybe a yard, and it'll be 3 and out for the Browns on their opening drive of the second half.
Protection just not there, but good decision by Shedeur. Like, every drive's not going to end in a touchdown, so you don't have to force it sometimes. The first play of the drive, he does a nice job picking up some yardage instead of throwing it away. He throws it to Cannella, and then the run kind of got blown up. Not really great block by the offensive line up front, and then a good decision there. Just take a couple yards, try to scramble, but let him punt.
End over end. Stoops calls for the fair catch right next to a flag. By the way, the refs have made a lineup change as well. Brad Allen, head referee, is going to sit this half out. Chad Hill has taken over.
Player out of bounds on a kick, number 26 of the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And so the Browns, they go 3 and out on their first drive. And now we'll try and tighten it up on D. Preseason football on News 5 is brought to you by Toyota. For all Toyota offers, go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. We welcome in the architect of the Cleveland Browns, Andrew Berry. It's our yearly visit.
That's right, Chris.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Boy, do we have a lot of stuff to talk about. You want to start with quarterbacks?
We can start with quarterbacks.
Okay,
That's no problem.
let's do it. Joe Flacco obviously named the starter this past week, and a lot of people are wondering what's the plan for the rookies moving forward. How do you balance getting a team ready for a game and developing 2 rookies that you drafted on the fly?
Well, one of the two primary responsibilities for our coaching staff are to prepare the team for the upcoming opponent and simultaneously bring our younger players along. And I know that has gotten more attention this year just because of the 2 rookie quarterbacks, but it's something that Kevin and his staff have done a fantastic job of over the past 5 years. For our particular situation at the quarterback position, I got to give Kevin, Tommy Breeze, Bill Musgrave a lot of credit in terms of how they've designed and redesigned practices to make sure that these young players behind the scenes can get the reps necessary to improve.
What sort of things have they done in practice to redesign that practice schedule to make sure that those guys are getting the quality reps that they need to continue their development?
Yeah, that's a great question, Joe. I think probably the easiest example for anyone who has come out to the training camp practices is our approach with what we call 2 spotting. So essentially during 7-on-7 and some team periods, we'll run 2 concurrent offensive groups. So essentially you have almost like a split squad where you have the 2 young kids on one field, you have the veterans on the other, and you run the same period concurrently, which allows all the players to get the necessary reps.
It's almost a little bit like how colleges run their practice, because they've got 100+ guys. They got to have 2 practices basically going on at the same time to get the reps that they need.
How do you determine whether or not you're comfortable with one of those guys or both of them being 1 snap away?
Yeah, so first of all, we have a lot of belief in both Dylan and Shador, and both of those guys have had an excellent preseason to date. And a big part of it is we measure and track everything in practice. Every throw, every decision, footwork, you name it. And we talk about the tangible progress that we're seeing on a weekly basis. Now, nothing is a substitute for competitive game situations, whether it's in the preseason and then certainly the regular season. So with any rookie player, not just quarterbacks, there is a little bit of a leap of faith, but we've been able to see their progress in real time, which gives us the confidence with both guys.
You always want to see your great players that are making plays in practice carry that over to game day. And as a rookie, that's always a question, right? Are they the same guy in practice as we're going to see on game day? So for those 2 quarterbacks specifically, after tracking and watching them practice, how have you seen that carry over to how they play on game day?
Yeah, Joe, you hit the nail on the head. I call it sometimes players get stage fright. Maybe not realistically, but just how they actually perform. And it's been great to see Dylan and Shador perform under the lights. Those guys, they prepare their tails off. And I think the cooler part is in these uncontrolled settings in games, you see the playmaking come out. Joe, there's always a quick whistle in practice for the quarterbacks that can't get hit. And in these settings, it's real football, and to see them be able to produce out of structure, that's probably been the most encouraging thing.
Browns make a nice play on Schrader, who's trying just to get back to the line of scrimmage. Good job by Cam Thomas and also Aiden Huntington, who's been a really nice pickup by you. Done some great things on special teams and defense as well. Let's continue a little bit more with the quarterback situation. Everybody's saying, well, the Browns can't keep 4 quarterbacks. So how do you wrestle with that over the next 72 hours?
Honestly, it's not much of a decision for us. All 4 guys have done what we've asked. Obviously, 3 of them have dealt with injuries throughout their time here. But the reality of it is, 53-man roster. You have great player, Cam.
Yeah, there you go. You can get a little excited, Andrew Berry.
Great player.
That's right, Cameron Thomas. Do your thing.
You have 53 roster spots. 5 are really developmental or inactive spots. Plus, post-COVID, the roster rules are just so much more flexible that you can build your 48 game day roster, unless you're wiped out from injury, pretty creatively. Quarterback, it's the most important position in sports. We have a room that we like all the guys in there, so we don't really see that as a problem. We really more see it as an opportunity.
So it typically means that if you're keeping 4 quarterbacks, you got to make some harder decisions in some of those other position rooms. Is there another position room that you're looking at and saying, hey, we got a guy that maybe can play a couple positions, so you almost get a 2-for-1 if we keep that player, and so we can go maybe a little bit lighter than we normally would in this position group because we are keeping those 4 quarterbacks?
Yeah, really it's probably in our linebacker and safety rooms, because in our defense, call it the strong safety or quarter position, really has a bit of a blend, with our second level defenders. And so some of the players in each of those rooms, they can live in both worlds, so to speak, and that does give us some roster flexibility as we build out the 53.
Gage Larvadan taking it from his 8, takes a big hit with a 5-yard return. And that means that Shedeur Sanders will return to the field. What has impressed you most about Shedeur? Maybe something that we, the fans, have not seen on social media, since that's the end-all, be-all?
I'll give you 2 things. So I think the first thing is it can never be, underestimated how big of a transition it is for a quarterback to go from college to the NFL. I think particularly in Shedeur's case, like, he's going from a college offensive system where, kind of give the example, it's like, okay, imagine you are fluent in English and now you have to learn Mandarin. It's not even a Germanic language. And his growth really since the spring on the mental side of things, having command of the offense, has been real impressive. And then the second part is just like his physical and mental toughness. For him to be out here so soon after his oblique injury is really no easy thing, especially for a thrower. And he just loves playing. He loves being on the lights. He loves being there for his teammates, and that's exactly what you want out of your quarterback.
Let's talk a little bit about some other positions on offense. People are curious about Quinshon Judkins and how we're doing with that.
Yeah, so there's not much that that I have an update on in terms of Q. We'll take that day to day and manage the situation appropriately.
2nd and 10. After Marshall had the drop, he'll get it, put in his belly, and get maybe a yard or 2. You just signed Isaiah Bond this week as well. We saw him on the field for a handful of plays in the first half. What made you comfortable with that sign?
Yeah, a big part of it is, we have gotten to know Isaiah's player personally the past calendar year, and then obviously done a enormous amount of work, on his legal situation. That's something that we never take lightly when a player is involved in a situation or alleged to be involved in a situation like that. And really, we got really comfortable doing our due diligence and our investigative work. Felt comfortable with the player just based on his time with Tommy Rees at Alabama. And after his criminal case was resolved, we felt really good about bringing him into the organization.
Sanders had gotten out of the pocket, overshot Travion Williams down the right side. There are multiple flags down, perhaps ineligible man downfield.
5-yard penalty.
Joe will always say that for offensive linemen, that's a tough go.
It's a tough one. Yeah, sometimes you're out there trying to get a block for your quarterback and you don't realize exactly where you are because you think maybe the quarterback has broken contain and is going to try to take off and run with it. But those are the breaks sometimes. The O-linemen were pretty low on the pecking order if anybody really cares about what we have to say about something or what we think.
Yeah, Joe, I always think about it as I think O-line's the only position in any sport where you play with your back to the ball. And these guys who extend the play or play out of structure, it can make life difficult, when they don't play on time.
Joe used to play with his back to the basket, too, when he was an animal in Wisconsin High School hoops.
You don't want to see this drop step dunk, baby.
So, Andrew, the bad news is we went 3 and out again on offense. The good news is you get to stick around as we're going to talk a little defense. Okay?
All right.
More with Andrew Berry in Cleveland. Browns lead the Rams 16-7. Preseason football on News 5 is presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of the Cleveland Browns. As we continue on with Andrew Berry, and here's some key dates coming up. Tuesday, 4 o'clock Cleveland time. You got to reduce that roster to 53 players. The work doesn't stop there. What are the next several days like for you and your staff?
Yeah, there's a fair amount of a turnover at the bottom of the roster after the cut down date. And just as we're getting down to 53 players, all 31 other teams are as well. And so, our focus at that point is really scouring the rest of the players who release and players that could really help upgrade at the back end of some of these position groups. So it's usually a pretty busy and a pretty long night, after the cut down, when we're looking either to claim, sign, trade for players that we think can help us in the short term. And then on top of that, we're also signing our 16-member practice squad, which will be comprised of some players that are currently in our 90 and others that will be external.
How different is it for you guys having this long layoff versus when we played? You play Thursday and then all of a sudden Labor Day weekend you cut down and you go right back into prepping for that first game of the season. But you guys have this real long layoff, and you mentioned how cut down day works, but what's the mentality as you're going through this big break here before you actually get into that game week?
I'd say, number one, it's a lot better from my perspective, because it gives you a better chance to really get healthy as you go into week one. In terms of the day-to-day of the team, we have next week, we call it Sharp Week, where we want to make sure we're still high tempo, we're still maintaining a level of sharpness for the team, going Browns versus Browns. And then after Labor Day weekend, that's when we really transition into the preparation for the opener.
Browns drafted Mason Graham, top of the first round, dominant defensive tackle from Michigan. And the first thing I thought is, I can't wait to see him next to Myles Garrett. What have you seen, and how have the vision for Mason Graham looked thus far in training camp, lining him up with Myles Garrett?
We've been very pleased with Mason's progress so far, particularly as an interior rusher. Our vision was, hey, it's very difficult if you have a guy who can really affect the passer on the edge and a guy who can do it on the inside. Myles is always going to get the slide, and that gives a one-on-one opportunity for your interior rusher. Or if they're going to, double Mason or double interior rusher, then you've got the best defensive player on the planet one-on-one against a tackle. So it really puts the offense in a bit of a bind if you can have two guys that are able to do that.
A lot has been made about Mason Graham's role in his Michigan defense, where he was more of a two-gapper, and now where he's penetrating in Jim Schwartz's defense. How has that transition been for him, and what kind of play did you expect out of him as a penetrating guy, as a guy that's more of a disruptor now here with the Browns?
So physically and his playing personality, we felt like it was going to be a really nice fit. He's got quickness, he's got power, he's a really high motor player, he has range. That wasn't necessarily always maximized in what he was asked to do at Michigan. Typically, players that are in a system like that and then go to what we call an attack front, it takes a little bit of time for them to make the adjustment. They revert back to maybe old habits, because in Mason's case, he'll have played in the same system for 3 years. And what we've been pleasantly surprised is that Mason has really taken to the technique quite quickly. And that's not to say that he's perfect, but he's probably learned a little bit more quickly than we would have anticipated.
Rams with a long pass play to True Edwards, and the bad news for the Browns is that Julian Okwara is back down behind the play. Andrew, we're going to take a quick break, and then we will continue on. Rams with the ball, down 9 in the third. You do not want to miss a single play, so get your seats to your favorite matchups today. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/tickets today. I know these good fans are waiting for number 12, used to be number 2 out in Boulder, get back on the field. And Andrew Berry would love that as well, because it means our defense would get the Rams off the field.
That's right. That's right, Chris. Let's get a stop here. Even better, let's get a turnover.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I like where your head's at there. That's a former DB.
That's right.
Harvard. I mean, that's that mentality. I see. Dresser Wynn remains in the game. It's 1st and 10 for the Rams with this play, and then start talking about the Browns secondary. Stoops brought down at the 34. Easton Mascarenas Arnold on the stop. So the secondary obviously suffered a really, really tough blow early in camp with MJ Emerson going down with the Achilles. Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, both nursing shoulder injuries. They're okay. Expecting good to go. Week 1, the whole bit. It's the depth after that obviously would be a concern for you. Where are you mentally with that?
It's losing MJ. That's a big blow, and quite frankly, we're never going to be able to fully replace that in season. But it does give great opportunity for younger players like Miles Harden and Cam Mitchell to step up. I'll touch on Miles specifically just because he missed most of his rookie year. He was a 7th round pick out of South Dakota State for us, and he's done a really nice job acclimating to our nickel position, and we've been pleased with his progress. But we are looking for more guys to step up, and this is an important game for a number of guys for spots 4 and 5.
That is well done by you, by the way. That was excellent. 3rd and 7 for Wynn. Completes. Spin, and not quite getting the first down is Presley. Good fight, so that's going to bring up 4th and short.
Nice defensive call by Jim Schwartz running that trap corner. I said that Dylan Gabriel has to be worried about, where you got your outside cornerback able to fall off and make a big hit, almost disrupts the football there when the ball goes to the inside receiver on an outbreaking route.
All right, are we getting one of these one of the measurements?
Here it is.
Yeah, this is it. It's the Hawkeye virtual measurement system. Now, just so that you know, measures the ball location relative to the line of gain. It does not spot the ball. That's still human. Got a half dozen cameras on one side of the stadium doing this. Doesn't utilize lasers or chips in the ball. Here we go. Now, they say it should take about 30 seconds to do this whole thing. You don't have this system in your backyard or anything.
No, I don't, but I'm a huge fan of the Hawkeye technology. Now, 30 seconds, for the games I've watched, I will take the over in terms of how long it's taken.
We're still figuring it out.
But I just say, we use lasers. Here we go, I love this.
Here we go.
Lasers, tracking technology for track and field, all these major sports, and for decades we've still been using just chain links. Like this makes so much more sense to me.
You know, you weren't working on this at Harvard? I mean, you couldn't have figured out how to get...
I should have, man. I tell you what, that's exactly right. I would have made a lot of money.
But you still would have been in this job because you love it in your passion. All right, by the way, that was 9 inches short. I remember the first time I called it in Carolina, I think I called it wrong. It was like, hey, well, that was 1.2 inches. Everybody on Twitter, of course, was wonderfully receptive to that.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you idiots.
Yeah.
I'm sure they gave you a lot of grace, Chris.
All right, let's see what the Browns short yardage defense has. Let's go. Wynn pushing forward. Wait, okay. Well, that's a first down. We don't need the Hawkeye for that. All right, so linebacker-wise, Carson Swessinger, first pick of the 2nd round. Some people are like, wait, off-ball linebacker, and obviously you needed him. JOK not playing this year. Jordan Hicks retires at the beginning of training camp. What has Carson Swessinger shown you that maybe even you didn't expect when you turned the name in?
I mean, Carson, it's like we added a 5-year vet to the room. It's very rare for rookie linebackers to be able to come in and wear the green dot right away, and it's really been seamless with him. He's long, he can run.
Yeah, really nice play. Kamarian James.
Carson, he's got great instincts, and he has just this insatiable desire to be great. His work ethic is absolutely outstanding. We compare that with physical talents and intelligence. It's obviously a winning combination.
Rest of that room took a little bit of a hit this past week. Nathaniel Watson was having a great camp, done for the year with a biceps. Winston Reed is dinged up as well. He had to sign a couple of guys, I believe, Wednesday or Thursday just to fill out for this game. Good job by Easton Mascarenas-Arnold, who's been great as an undrafted rookie free agent out of USC. Is that a guy that is being discussed in that room?
Chris, you could not have picked a better segue. We're very pleased very pleased.
This guy's a pro here.
Very pleased with Easton this preseason. It's funny, him, Carson, and Mason, we might as well call them the triplets because they're always together in the facility since spring. He can run, he's physical, he can play in coverage. Even though he's a little undersized, that's not as big of a deal in our system, and he's made a lot of plays this August for us.
Browns blitzing Wynn, rolls out right, throws incomplete. Good job by KJ Henry getting into the backfield. Of course, had a pick 6 last week in Philly. And the Rams will come out, and it looks like they're going to try a long field goal. Josh Carty. Boy, you've your time of possession this quarter has been immense. I just want to say, that's good.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean,
can you use that in contract negotiations?
I wish.
Joe will gladly volunteer to give back some of the cash he's been taking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was doing this for free. They're paying you to do this, Chris? That other stuff that I got when I was playing, I already spent it on cattle and Wagyu beef and farm, so it's gone.
All right.
Los Angeles.
We have a quick timeout. You want to say goodbye? You can go, or do you want to hang through the kick? I will give you.
Let's hang through the kick. Okay. Look, I only get to do this once a year with you guys.
That's true. Well, I'm not trying to kick you out. You can stay the rest of the game if you want
to. Chris is trying to get rid of you.
That is not what I'm doing.
I mean, it was soft. It was professional.
Don't make me come over there. Do not make me come over there.
Save me, AD. I know you're a lot stronger than the three of us. You're the only guy who can help me.
Were you ever the guy in the wing trying to block the kick?
You know what? I was, but fun fact, I was actually the holder in college.
Really?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
You can't come up and then go back down on the knee. You're down.
Yeah, I was always.
Did you ever have to throw a pass like?
I did.
And?
I did. We completed it, but we did not convert.
For -2 yards. So what is your career stat line at quarterback then? 1 for 1 for -2. Hungry rating.
45-yard attempt by Carty, and he nails it. Andrew Berry, it was a pleasure, man.
No, my pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Good seeing you. Good luck. Can't wait to see the final 53 on Tuesday and then beyond. Shedeur Sanders in the on-deck circle. We'll see him right after this. 45-yard field goal has gotten the Rams back within 6 as Shedeur Sanders about to take the field yet again. Heard some interesting stuff from Andrew Berry. Going to be busy for the next week trying to put the finishing touches on the 2025 version of the Browns, who will start this next drive at the 35. So we haven't seen much from the offense under the leadership this time of Shedeur Sanders. That's going to happen. What do you want to see now?
I'd like to see a long drive with some opportunity for him to show off his stuff, right? He's done a great job being poised back there, making great decisions on when to stay in the pocket, when to leave in his last start, but just not a lot of opportunities, not great blocking, and then just drives that are stalling because they're not successful in the run game, so keeping them in long situations, receivers not giving them windows to throw to.
Marshall in the backfield behind Sanders. He'll get the rock and go nowhere, courtesy of that Rams defense. By the way, under the tutelage of Chris Shula, grandson of the legendary coach Don Shula, and a former collegiate teammate of Sean McVay at Miami University. Cradle of coaches, my man.
Ohio is just unbelievably loaded with great coaches that have littered the college football landscape, the NFL landscape. I mean, there's really good football here all the way to high school. Friday Night Lights is something I'm very jealous of as a guy who's living in Wisconsin now.
Sanders dumps it down to Marshall for a short gain. We saw Shedeur a couple of weeks ago in his NFL opener at Carolina. Actually went against the first-string defense his first couple of drives. Really lit it up after that. Poised, ball placement was really, for the most part, outstanding. And let's remember, he is an uber-accurate passer.
Yeah, and we've seen that accuracy today. Not a lot of places to go with the football. That last throw probably could have thrown the intermediate route, would have gained a couple more yards, but everything has been quick with his decision-making and accurate with the throw.
Rams blitzing. Sanders has the ball stripped, bouncing around, and the Browns, it appears they fall on it. It was Muhammad that came in off the edge to jar the ball loose from Sanders, and it'll be another 3 and out.
Ivy, the Browns left tackle there, does not do a great job around the edge. Shedeur Sanders, one thing he needs to learn is in those situations, you got those 3rd and longs, you're taking a deep drop because you've got routes that are going deep down the field. You want to be able to step up because those tackles got problems with those speed rushers coming around the edge, so he hung a little bit deep in the pocket there. Not saying it still wouldn't have been a sack, but that's something that he's got to learn on those 3rd and long plays, to be able to step up and climb in the pocket. Help your tackles out.
Loses the ball inside the 5-yard line and gets stopped in his tracks. Another booming punt by Corey Bojorquez, who has averaged more than 50 yards per punt. We will pause now for a word from Huntington Bank.
You ever feel like your money is just lying around? Welcome to Huntington, a bank that believes we should all get more from money. Like a path to turn all those late nights into beach days. Sunscreen, Noel. And a nudge when you've got enough for the GOAT without wiping out the groceries. And anything to make life easier for all you small business owners. We see you, Dad. Banking isn't just checking and saving. It's about getting more from money. Huntington Bank.
Browns offense stalled here in the second half, but another great punt by Corey Bojorquez as the Rams starting this next drive inside their own 5 at about the 3-yard line.
Second time for Bojorquez, pinning him back with a booming punt inside the 5-yard line. What a weapon this guy is for the Browns.
Yeah, he has been fantastic now in his 4th season here in Cleveland. He has 5 punts over 70 yards in the last 3 seasons. Nobody else in the league has more than 2.
As a former punter myself, I feel like a kindred spirit to my punters. I roomed with them in college. Underappreciated. But
you roomed with a punter?
Oh, yeah. Kenny DeBush, the great Kenny DeBush, the leg we called him. Of course, like any good kicker or punter.
It's called Kenny the Leg?
Kenny the Leg.
Who else was your 3rd roommate? Jimmy the Nose?
Actually, the backup punter, Paul Standard. So I really got along very well with the special teams guys.
This is breaking news with Joe Thomas that he roomed with. I'm not laughing at the fact.
And a snapper.
So a snapper and 2 punters?
Yes, that's right.
The good news is we have an entire 4th quarter to break down who else was on your dormitory hallway in Madison. Browns up 16-10. 3rd quarter stats brought to you by Bridgestone. Bridgestone, the official tire of the Cleveland Browns. Not much to write home about for the Browns in the 3rd quarter. 2 total yards.
Not running the ball, not protecting your quarterback. And for Shedeur Sanders, the guy that a lot of people, most people, are out here to watch here today, not really getting an opportunity to show his stuff like he did when he was playing against Carolina a couple weeks ago.
I think the best thing about the 3rd quarter outside of the interview with Andrew Berry was the fact we found out that you room with long snappers.
Punters.
Yeah,
they were the most fun.
There you go. That's a little false startage.
False start. Offense, number 57. Half the distance to the goal. We play second down.
You know, overall, I think it's been an outstanding camp. You mentioned the physicality, and that has been an emotional mindset change for this organization. There was hitting, there was tackling in camp, and people say, well, of course there is. It's football, but that has not been the Stefanski camp way for much of the first 5 years of his tenure, and you can see the physicality that has shown up on game day, I think.
I think so, too. I think you saw it in those joint practices where the Browns were just out-physicaling the Carolina Panthers and the Philadelphia Eagles. They were imposing their will on them, and I mean, it started on both sides of the offensive and the defensive line there in the trenches, and really just continued all the way through the linebacker core and the safeties. You've seen some big hits today. So what I really like about a training camp or a preseason is those opportunities to get your mind into football speed, right? Which, not just talking about how fast you need to react and play, but how you need to run through tackles and run through blocks to make that physical portion of the game second nature, which that's something I think you almost have to relearn every time you put the pads back on and start a new season.
Browns force a 3 and out as Wynn's pass sailed high over the head of Britton Covey. So the Browns should get the ball back in decent field position, and Shedeur Sanders are chomping at the bit.
As are we, to see him get a few opportunities here. Come on, let's go.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. I mean, Andrew Berry was as honest as he can be when you're trying to construct a roster in time for Tuesday's cutdown day. You know, we'll see if there's quarterback movement around the league. Injuries play a role in guys getting moved as well. Gage Larvidan from his 35 gets it close to midfield before he gets dropped by the Rams. So here comes Shedeur Sanders. So how do you think this whole thing's going to play out in terms of the quarterback situation?
The Browns franchise? I don't know. They'll win one before I die. I know that.
I'm talking about once Joe Flacco starts. I mean, Jimmy Haslam came out at his preseason press conference and say we have to look at the young guys at some point. And
it's obvious. And, you know, as players, you really just focus on the here and now. You know, I have no idea. There's no guarantees as a player or even a coach about being around next season, so you can't worry about that. But the people upstairs, those are the guys that need to be aware and alert, as Shedeur Sanders does a great job moving in the pocket. That was something we saw Russell Wilson do a lot when he's getting blindside pressure. He had that great awareness of where that was to make just a little bit of a jab step, make the first blitzer miss, and then roll out and give his receivers an opportunity to work on their scramble drill.
Well, you know, Sanders and Gabriel picked a couple of rounds apart, and it's the first time in the NFL since 2012 where multiple quarterbacks were drafted by the same team in the first 5 rounds. Hasn't happened a lot in the common draft era since the late 60s. RG3 and Kirk Cousins, and of course, Kirk Cousins still cashing some checks down there in Atlanta with the Falcons as the backup to Michael Penix. Sanders being pressured, spins away again, keeping the play alive. The fans love it, but that's one of those plays where maybe he's got to roll out and throw it away, huh?
Yeah, I think he's getting a little bit too eager there to have an opportunity to throw the ball down the field. You saw him earlier just hanging a little bit too deep in the pocket, not stepping up. Here, the same thing, right? He's got a nice pocket if he just steps up into that, but trying to escape through the back of the pocket again. And it only takes a couple times when you do that before the defense realizes, okay, we can rush the edge of the tackle, and Shedeur is not going to step up because he's not feeling comfortable there. And then you can actually change how you're rushing and the X that you're rushing to behind where the quarterback is. So I'd like to see some improvement in game, which is something that you have to do as an NFL starter. You got to be able to make those corrections quickly on the sideline.
Loss of 24 on the sack, and then Trevion Williams gets a couple of yards back, and they'll have to punt. And Sanders, just like himself, playing with a lot of young guys.
A lot of young guys out there, a lot of young offensive linemen in front of him. Blocking has not been exceptional, but blocking and the drop of the quarterback, they have to go hand in hand. Like Andrew Berry said, hey, we play with our backs to the ball, so we're blocking for a spot. You know, obviously we're not always doing a great job, and sometimes we get beat just like anybody, but for the most part, I don't know what he's going to do. I can do my best based on the reaction of the defender that I'm trying to block, but having that trust between offensive line and the quarterback about where he's going to be and when the ball is going to come out is so crucial.
How about Aiden Huntington, 280-pound defensive lineman running down the field to make the tackle on the punt. Shedeur, hopefully we'll see you soon. It is presented by the University of Akron, official university of the Cleveland Browns. Well, time for you to go to school on the Browns' 2025 regular season schedule, which opens up in this very building 2 weeks from tomorrow against the Cincinnati Bengals. Not easy out of the gate because in the first 6 games, the Bengals are the only team that did not make the postseason a year ago.
Murderer's row there to start the season.
Includes a game on NFL Network. Yeah, you notice 9:30 Cleveland time in the morning. That is over in London against the Minnesota Vikings. Presley on the end around, got a good block, but a nice tackle there. Christian Holmes, and then here's the second half of the schedule. You know, the interesting thing is going to be, you know, Joe Flacco named the opening day starter. At some point, you do have to evaluate Dillon Gabriel and or Shedeur Sanders moving forward.
That was the conversation we were having before. If you're a player on this roster, you're not worried about next year. There's no guarantees as players or as coaches, but ownership, people in the front office, you have to have that long vision as well. And finding out about your quarterbacks that are on this roster, specifically your rookies, and deciding what you're going to do with those 2 first-round picks is every bit a huge part of the season as it is getting Joe Flacco ready to go and win and try to win as many games as you can.
Aiden Huntington, this guy has been fantastic throughout the preseason. Started today as an extra blocker on offense, and look at the quickness.
Never going to make Aaron Donald comparisons when they're not warranted, but this guy kind of gives little whispers of Aaron Donald with his size, with his quickness, with the effort that he plays with, running down on kickoff. I think I might be buying young Jackie boy Jack Thomas a 66 jersey because this guy's just fun to root for. Watch him right out there again. 2 with the side.
Ball is loose, and the Rams recover. Somebody better check Dresser Wynn, who lost on that play more than just the football. Sam Kamara in there.
They're running a little bit of a game here, and then you're going to see Aiden Huntington coming up and underneath. Number 92 right there splits the double team and smokes Rams quarterback there, putting the face mask right on the football, knocking it loose. What a big hit, what a great play there. Just motor, effort, speed, quickness, everything you want to see from your defensive tackle. Look at that, getting love now on the sideline from his defensive line coach.
He's contributed on offense, special teams, and defense. That's a coach's dream. Larvidan lost it in the sun, lets it bounce, and it takes a Rams bounce all the way inside the 5. All right, Shedeur Sanders, let's shake it off. Let's see what you got. Time running out on the Browns preseason. They're up 6. It's preseason football on News 5, brought to you by Toyota. For all Toyota offers, go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Browns just picked up 15 yards, courtesy of a personal foul on the punt return against the Rams. In the meantime, let's check in once again with Aditi Kinkhabwala. She's on the sidelines with the Browns' top 2 picks.
2 rookie superstars, Chris. Mason, I'll start with this one. Andrew Berry just said that the 2 of you are always with each other in the building. Is that true?
We're neighbors, so it's kind of funny. So, yeah, we're kind of always together.
Is that accidental that you live by each other?
Yeah, I moved there first, then he moved after.
Okay. Well, Grant Delpit this week said if he were to use 2 words to describe Mason, violent and always attacking. That's an extra word, but violent and attacking. Is that accurate?
Oh, that's very accurate, yeah. Makes it very easy to play behind.
2 California boys out in Cleveland. What's been the biggest adjustment so far?
You know, I was playing in the Midwest already, so I feel it's more of an adjustment for him, but I'm kind of used to it. You know, it's similar to how Michigan was. But yeah, just fun playing in here for the first time and looking forward to the more times.
Has Mason given you any tips on the Midwest?
No, he hasn't really helped me out on how to deal with some of the weather here, but you know, it's been great being out here.
Carson, I hate to break it to you. You haven't experienced any of the weather just yet. All right, the green dot. We talked about it in Carolina. Now that you've got the 3 games in, where do you feel you are with it?
I'm very comfortable with it. Whatever they need me to do, I'm willing to go do, yeah.
Do you feel like he is indeed very comfortable back there?
Yeah, for sure. He makes all the right calls, you know, tells us what to do. Good communicator, and that's what you need from the linebackers.
All right, most important question. Which one of the 2 of you does Jim Schwartz like more?
I don't know, probably him, honestly.
Really?
I'll go with him. We'll go.
He knows it's him.
See, they're still rookies, Chris, so they're modest.
That's pretty good, Aditi. Pretty good. Yeah, I don't think that Jim Schwartz would admit it, but Carson Schlesinger is he is something special right in the middle of that defense. You heard it from Andrew Berry that it was like adding a 5-year vet to the room. Rams had to re-punt, by the way, so Larvidan gets another crack at it. Gets ahead past the 35, and now the Browns will start their series with 9 and change to go in the preseason. It's going to be a lot of fun to see those 2 guys added to a defense that's looking for a little retribution.
Yeah, adding some young, hungry players with high motors and high IQs. They're fun to watch, and you know, this is going to be a really, really good defense. This team's going to lean a lot on them for their ability to hopefully make a nice run through the first part of the season, which is filled with tremendous offenses and great quarterbacks.
Shedeur Sanders, 2 for 4 so far, hands it off to Marshall, bullies his way up toward the 40. Shedeur has also suffered a couple of sacks this afternoon. Cut down day coming your way Tuesday at 4 o'clock Cleveland time. Hopefully the Browns escape severe injury bug today. We did see their starting center, Ethan Posick, leave with a leg injury in the first. Pierre Strong being evaluated for a concussion. 2nd and 5. Marshall gets a first down. And Rams and Browns going at it face to face with guys trying to make one last impression.
Browns finally getting something going on the ground. That's really going to be a huge help for Shedeur Sanders when they do drop him back to throw again, because so far when Shedeur Sanders has been in, he just hasn't had good blocking in the pass protection or in the run game, and it's put him in some difficult situations. So hopefully they can kind of build on this momentum a little bit, this fiery, this chippiness, and have a nice long drive. We'll get a really good chance to watch Shedeur Sanders as he's pointing out the mic right there.
Well, the fans that have stuck around want to see 12 do something special on 1st and 10. Pressure, Sanders retreats, now steps up. He's going to get dropped inside the 40. Did he lose it? No whistle. Now there's a whistle finally, even though Tony Fields, the former Brown, thought he had a fumble return for a touchdown, but ruled down by contact.
Shedeur Sanders trying to move in the pocket, create something, but just nothing there. Looks like the ball was going to be down as he's being tackled. That elbow hits the ground before the ball comes out, so he's going to be down right there.
So we've seen Shedeur pressured an awful lot here in this game.
And he's kind of doing it to himself a little bit here as he's drifting way too much deep in the pocket. He's got to step up or they're going to just continue to rush up the field.
There's
that spot. Sorry, go ahead.
Connection with Sal Cannella gets it back to the original line of scrimmage.
All right, 2nd down, 16 here. Got an opportunity to get, it looks like it'll be about 3rd and 10. So now this is a really tough situation, but hopefully he's made that adjustment in his mind. He'll be able to step up into the pocket. They'll give Shedeur an opportunity to complete something here. Even if it's short of the sticks, give your guys a catchable ball. Try to maybe run and get that 1st down after you catch it.
Sanders sacked 94 times in 2 years out of Colorado. Sanders steps up. Now he retreats, spins around, throws, keeps the play alive. It's behind Williams and incomplete. And he could have gone running for a while.
Heck of a job right there by Sanders. He's stepping up into the pocket here, even though he's not getting great protection from his left tackle, who's a little bit soft. He does decide to step up and gives himself at least an opportunity to break free of those would-be sackers and finds his receiver who's running open in the middle and just a hair behind his receiver, but still that's a catchable ball you got to make if you want to be an NFL receiver.
Frustrating day for Shedeur Sanders. Very different than the first time we saw him against the Carolina Panthers. DeJorquez with a short punt. Fair catch called for at the 23. So the Browns trying to hang on here in the preseason finale. You're looking at today's player of the game. It's brought to you by Terry Coyne. Aiden Huntington has done it all, the undrafted rookie free agent. Actually started as an extra tight end. Then he actually played a little defense, knocking ball carriers. Look at this, covering punts for a 280-pound man and then doing what he does best.
There's a human missile out there. He's beating blockers at the line of scrimmage. Here he's running right around the offensive guard with some really nifty hand play and then running a stunt with another defensive tackle on the inside, gets the sack, knocks the ball free. Just a great job by this young man.
That's our player of the game, brought to you by Terry Coyne. 25 years and $5 billion of commercial real estate expertise. Browns, of course, made a trade. Ja'Whaun Briggs, who was a 7th rounder a year ago, shipped to the Jets along with a 7th rounder in return for a 6th rounder. So does that clear a space for Huntington? Who knows? Waters on the carry. Gains about 9. And for more on him, Aditi.
Chris, you look at him, and obviously he's one of those athletic tweeners, 6'1", 280. But Kevin Stefanski said he loves his style, and that today was really more about how he can handle the mental gymnastics of doing offense, of doing defense, of doing special teams. And I don't know, Joe, it looks like he handled them perfectly fine.
He's looking great out there. He's fun to watch. Certainly a guy that is a huge surprise. Andrew Berry's done a great job finding some of those late round guys, those undrafted free agents that can come in and contribute.
Waters, nice gain there. Speaking of undrafted rookie free agents, out of North Carolina State, picks up 18, and we'll see. Browns fans want to see that man, Shedeur Sanders, one more time, at least before the regular season starts.
These are important evaluation reps. We really need the defense to step up. We need Jim Schwartz to call a couple blitzes here, get the ball back. Turnover, let's go.
Under 5 to go. Waters runs over Christopher Edmonds, gains 6.
Unfortunately, I think the Rams are not worried about seeing Shedeur Sanders again, and they're thinking, let's run the ball and get back to the West Coast.
Yeah, many of their big names did not even make the trip. Matthew Stafford, who just started practicing because of a disc issue in his back, he didn't make the trip, neither did his backup, Jimmy Garoppolo, Monte Adams, Puka Nacua, their offensive line, their head trainer. Isn't that accurate?
Yeah, I was down in the training room talking to some of the guys BSing before the game, and our head trainer, Pat Rock, the great Pat Rock, was like, you know, their head trainer didn't even travel, because we were talking about all these Rams players that weren't going to be there today, and I wonder if Commissioner Goodell is going to have a little conversation with Sean McVay about, hey, you got to give a little bit better effort here. We got a entertainment event here that people want to come and see, and we got to at least put forth a little bit better effort.
Well, Dresser Wynn has done his job here in the second half and has the Rams driving for potentially the go-ahead score with under 4 minutes to go. 3rd and 1. Play fake. Wynn rolling left, throwing, tip, incomplete. McAllen Castles went in and out of his hands as Christopher Edmonds does a nice job.
Good defense by the Browns. They don't fall for the play action fake on 3rd and 1, you know. Typically 3rd and 1, you're thinking run the ball, so they stayed home, stayed true to their assignments, and right there to be able to help break that ball up, which is a tough catch for a guy that's kind of turning around. Castles there trying to make that catch, but thankfully for the Browns, hopefully they're going to be able to get off the field here on 4th down.
There's whistles and a timeout by Sean McVay.
Timeout, Los Angeles. This is their second charge timeout of the half.
Certainly.
It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Excited to see Jim Schwartz and that defense hit the field 2 weeks from tomorrow. And you know what else is back for season 2? Juniors Brown Backers. It's presented by University Hospitals, Rainbow Babies and Children's, and in association with Cardinal Credit Union. Cleveland Browns official kids club is gearing up for yet another season of fun. For ages 4 to 12, give your kid a season full of Browns memories with exclusive gear, experiences, events, and plenty of surprises all season long. All you have to do is visit juniorbrownsbackers.com to join today. Browns looking for a stop with 3:39 to go here in the preseason. Somebody's still involved that way, David.
Guy has always got a smile on his face, always bringing joy to his teammates in the locker room and energy. Got to have that spark plug on your team.
4th and 1. Wynn to throw, looking right. Throws to Edwards, ball knocked away. Darius Rush, did he catch it on the rebound?
No way.
They're saying he did. And the Rams are going to rush up to the line and try and say, yeah, let's.
I think his butt was out of bounds. We'll see here maybe on the replay, but he was right by the white there.
Wow. Well, Kevin Stefanski, this is not regular season football. Well, Rams are going to get the playoff, and the catch will count. We'll give you one more look at this, where if that's the regular season, Kevin Stefanski's definitely checking it out. But how about True Edwards?
Well, that was close, right? At what point does he secure possession of the ball, and at what point does that booty hit the white chalk on the sideline there? That was bang, bang. I think if you had a better camera angle there during the regular season, you got a lot more cameras, so you could see right down the sideline to kind of see the timing of that. But
well, it is NFL math where 1 butt cheek equals 2 feet.
I could tell the wife that.
2nd and 6. By the way, True Edwards, his pops, Troy, a former first-round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers. One time his dad
Full start.
In college.
Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
21 catches, 405 yards for Louisiana Tech against Nebraska.
Good Lord.
Oh, yeah.
I hope he had an ice tub available after that game.
He just kept running.
Can you imagine? Yeah. Probably how many touchdowns? I'd love to know that.
Oh, you looked that one up, too. Yeah.
How, you hardly know any stats. What's wrong with you? You've changed. You've lost the sauce.
That's what happens when you get older. It's done. 2nd and 11.
Yeah.
Browns looking for a stop. Waters in the backfield. Browns blitzing. Connection. Covey, first down inside the 5.
Never like to cheer against the Browns, but I was hoping he'd get in there so we could Shedeur another opportunity. Browns send a blitz. They're running a strong cross dog there, trying to get home, but the Rams do a good job picking it up. And then that's the problem. When you do send extra blitzers, there's a lot more holes in your coverage. Rams are running a quick slant there, and they found the hole in the secondary, able to get the ball out and give themselves an opportunity here right on the goal line.
Rams have to snap it before the 2-minute warning. Waters trying to bounce outside. He's going to get into the end zone, and we've got a tie game with 2:03 to go.
Christopher Edwards here for the Browns is going to try to seal the edge, but unfortunately he gets stuck a little bit too far inside. He's got to keep his outside arm free and leverage to be able to handle that, because the Rams are running that classic duo play where the running back starts downhill and then he's got the opportunity to bounce it, and it kind of sucks the defenders in. But when you're that outside defender, you really cannot let the ball bounce outside of you.
Carty to give the Rams their first lead of the day. And he missed it, but there's a flag on the play. It looks like maybe the Browns were offsides.
Looks like that may have been Darius Rush off the offense's right. Just gets a jump a little bit too quickly there. Sometimes that happens.
Offside, defense, number 39. 5-yard penalty.
You called it, Doctor.
Yeah, so the guy
retry
on the edge, they call him sometimes the skinner, because he's trying to skin past that wing player to get his hands in the air and to try to get a block. But you're reading the ball and the body language of the long snapper, and you're trying to take any little cues on when you need to go. And when you go, you go.
Did you learn that from rooming with those guys?
Yeah, all my roommates were the special teams guys. Steve Johnson, long snapper, you know, I got to watch him do a lot of great work at Wisconsin throughout the years. They're also the guys that have the most time on their hands, so they're the most fun. They're the guys that you want to be roommates with.
All right, so the bad news is that the Browns have relinquished the lead for the first time today. I wonder if it's possible if Snoop Huntley is going to.
No, please. It is possible, but we don't want that. And he's throwing the helmet on. Shedeur does not have the helmet on, walking towards the locker room. Wonder if the ribs, if the oblique is bothering him a little bit. That was what he heard the week of Philadelphia. Did not allow him to take any team reps, and then he was not able to play in the game. We had Andrew Berry here in the third quarter telling us about his toughness and being able to come back so quickly from that injury. Not exactly clear if Shedeur is just feeling frustrated, that's why he went for the walk, or if he was maybe looking to go to the locker room to get those ribs checked out or the oblique checked out.
Well, this has been a lot for him for several months. We get it that he is a star and has been for quite some time. That ball is going to go out of the end zone. Browns have started at the 35. But all eyes have been focused on him ever since the draft process. And then we don't have to harp on it again, but it ends up being picked 144 in the 5th round. And then here, and where are you on the depth chart? And they've got a rookie that they drafted ahead of you. So maybe they don't like you as much. There's been a lot. And as I mentioned, every press conference he has had, he has stood there and handled things beautifully.
Yeah, the game did not go the way any of us had hoped today. Protection was not there. Shedeur Sanders not feeling comfortable with movement in the pocket. Receivers not getting open. Just not what you hoped. The opportunity for him to show off his stuff and get that true first opportunity to evaluate those two rookie quarterbacks on the same field against the same defense.
Well, Huntley has that one picked off, but there is a flag. So we'll see if that is a keeper or not for Cam Lampkin.
Holding. Defense, number 33. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
You see right here, a little bit of
This
a hold
is the
there
2-minute
by
warning.
Lampkin.
The defender Lampkin
2
allowing
minutes.
himself to kind of slingshot underneath the receiver and make the play.
All right, so Browns still have the ball, down 1 with under 2 to go. The play of the game is brought to you by Real American Freestyle. It involves that guy, 40-year-old Joe Flacco, to 21-year-old rookie tight end Harold Fannin Jr.
Joe Flacco doing a great job looking to his left, creating that space for the post route by Harold Fannin Jr. with the great catch, and then being able to hang on all the way through the hit.
Real American Freestyle, first unscripted professional freestyle wrestling league debuts August 30th in Cleveland. Tickets available at realamericanfreestyle.com. After the hold on Cam Lampkin, erased the interception. Browns back at work. That's Chad Cota, and he gets out of bounds after a 6-yard gain. Want to thank our outstanding production crew. Been with us throughout the 3 preseason games. Our producer Jonathan Siegel, our director Chris Svensson, coordinating producer Joel Kate, tech manager Brian Arizari, our AD Dan Larson. Flags, movement on the offense. We'll move it 5 yards back.
False start. Offense, number 54. 5-yard penalty.
Also our
We
great
play second down.
technicians. Bob Yodas, Gene Winters, Julie Arnold, Pat Farrow, Chris Delcombe, and our gang in the booth, Mike Bixenstein, Mike Falkenstein, Jeff Dalpaz, Kerry Kems, Dave Sheets, thank you so much for all the hard work you've put in. And our friends here at News 5. 2nd and 8. And we'll bring it back as Muhammad jumps.
Neutral zone infraction. Number 45 of the defense. 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
All right, so the Browns with 151 as Snoop Huntley has entered the game. Browns maybe setting up a potential game-winning field goal. We've seen those attempts before in the preseason.
Dustin Hopkins struggled a little bit here in preseason, so maybe give him one more opportunity to build confidence going into that Bengals game with one more chance for a long field goal.
Huntley with flags down, rolling right, throws, and incomplete. He was looking for Cota. Maybe
all of a sudden it's a flag fest out here with these yellow hankies all over the place.
Offside, defense, number 1. 5-yard penalty. Results in a first down.
Darion Kendrick, one of the corners.
Not often you see the cornerback lining up offsides.
So now the ball on the Rams side of the field. I think we'd all like to see Dustin Hopkins get another crack from 50 plus if that's what it comes down to. Still a $145 and 3 timeouts. So Huntley throws the slant. Cade McDonald gets lit up and loses the ball. Here comes the flag, and unfortunately McDonald is down. Quickly, the medical staff coming to his aid.
Yeah, I think that was shoulder to helmet or helmet to helmet there on Cade McDonald, and right at the hit you knew
Personal
he was in
foul,
trouble.
necessary roughness. Number 40 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, that's on Tony Fields, the former Cleveland Brown. And McDonald being attended to right now, the undrafted rookie free agent out of Miami University. Started his collegiate career at Michigan State. He is being helped to his feet now. Actually just sitting up. We're not going to show you the replay. He took a shot to his head and it just wasn't pretty. And so now he's being assisted.
One of the hits the NFL has worked hard to try to get out of the game by removing any of those forearms to the head of a defenseless receiver, shoulders.
Obviously helmet to helmet.
Helmet to helmet.
Something that they've watched and studied. And
sometimes that's a difficult one for the receiver because you
Please
have
reset the
in-breaking route.
game clock to 1 minute and 42 seconds.
You've got an in-breaking route by the receiver. You've got a safety that's breaking on the football. Ball comes in a little bit low, receiver comes down, maybe ducks his head a little bit. So there's not malice from the defensive player as he's coming in to try to disrupt and break up the pass. But unfortunately, if you're not picking your target very carefully in those split-second moments as a defensive player, there can be some really serious collisions there in the secondary.
Several members of the Browns training staff walking McDonald down the tunnel into the locker room. We're back. Huntley's going to hang on to it. He's got space. He gets close to another first down before running out of bounds. Just about a yard shy of the first down. So
nice block there by Mitch Van Voren. The Browns are running a zone read here. Tyler Huntley decides to pull the ball, and they actually have a lead blocker for him, which is kind of the next evolution of that zone read where you're sending a blocker out there to give that quarterback somebody to lead him down the field.
And Andre Schmidt is actually the one that's warming up for a potential game-winning kick. Marshall moves the chains inside the 25 down to about the 22 and a half. Clock is running. Rams do have one timeout. So now the Browns just playing the position game. Hey kid, where do you like the ball? Maybe in the middle?
Yeah, clearly within easy field goal range for an NFL kicker. Playing to win the game, trying to get out of here without any injuries, because being mindful it still is preseason. But trying to play this somewhat game-like, a regular season game where you feel pretty good about being in that position, and then you talk to your kicker and say, hey buddy, which hash would you like it on?
Marshall moves the pile forward inside the 20. And the Browns are officially in the red zone, which is presented to you by Milk-Bone. Milk-Bone bringing more dog food to the dog pound. 3 trips, 3 scores, and a 4th would give the Browns a perfect preseason. Nervous?
More than I would expect, Chris. All of a sudden you said it and I felt my heart rate go up a little bit. I am a little bit nervous. You know, we were hoping to see maybe Dustin Hopkins get one more opportunity, but the guy with the last name that I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce.
Schmidt.
Very Polish, maybe? I don't know, somewhere in that eastern bloc.
Browns are going to set it up right in the middle and take the clock all the way down to one more snap. So what do you think? Last week we saw Nick Sirianni call a timeout, icing kickers in the preseason. Does Sean McVay do the same to Kevin Stefanski yet again?
Is Sean McVay still at the game, or did he already load up in the plane and he's ready?
What do you think?
I don't think he ices him, and I think we nail this right down the middle with Schmidt.
The guy that was a All-American and a Groza Award winner as a freshman at Syracuse. And now looking to win it for the Browns from 37 yards out. A perfect preseason on the line. The snap, the hold, the kick. There you go, Browns fans. Your perfect preseason is here.
Well, winning is always good, no matter when it comes or how it comes, Chris. Meaningless game, you can tell it to us later in the year, but that still felt good.
Good for that kid. Rex Sunahara, the local guy from Bay Village with the good snap. Bajorquez the hold, and Schmidt is good.
Splits the uprights. Good way to end the preseason.
And yeah, even the guys that throw it for a living. Yeah, that's solid. That's excited for Dylan Gabriel, by the way. Shedeur, come on, be fired up. And your starting quarterback for week 1, I get to tell the kids that we won a preseason game. In fact, 3 of them. So, curtain comes up 2 weeks from tomorrow in this building against the Cincinnati Bengals. First, your final stats brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Wayside Furniture and Mattress, keeping it local since 1937. Second half, not a ton to write home about offensively, but overall, an impressive preseason.
Yeah, I think this preseason, the Browns got exactly what they wanted out of it. Kevin Stefanski wanted to hold a more physical training camp, a more difficult training camp, challenge these players to be better and tougher. And we saw that in the joint practices in Carolina. We saw it in Philadelphia with 2 dominating performances against Carolina. Probably not going to be that great, but Philadelphia, you're defending Super Bowl champions. The trenches were won by the Browns on offensive and defensive line, and you got to feel pretty good about where the Browns are heading into the opening game here in a couple weeks against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ton of fun, Hall of Famer. It was great. Schmidt happens as the Browns win it 19-17 for Joe Thomas and Aditi Kinkhabwala. I'm Chris Rose. This has been a presentation of News 5 and the Cleveland Browns. For our viewers on News 5, don't go anywhere. After these messages, it's John Dawson, the Browns post-game show for viewers on our other affiliates. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.